Joe. Let's talk about some goings on and anything you know.
Cup of Joe. Let's talk about some goings on and anything you know. Good morning. Get in here and grab a cup of Joe. Let's talk about some goings on and anything you know. Let's talk about some goings on and anything you know. Good morning. Get in here and grab a cup of Joe. Let's talk about some goings on and anything you know. Good morning. Get in here and grab a cup of Joe. Let's talk about some goings on and anything you know.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Oh my gosh, I look a fright. Holy cow. I'm going to have to fire my makeup crew. They totally messed this up. Nope, we're not mirroring the camera. Oh, goodness. Good morning, everybody. Welcome in. Okay, I have a setting, and on that setting, it says touch up my appearance. And there are 4 levels. There's like 25% touch up, 50% touch up, 75% touch up, and 100% touch up. I'm like, today I need 100%, and it's just sitting there doing the little spinny thing. I can't touch up your appearance that much. I can't do it. It's too much to ask. Oh, it's broken. It is broken. Oh my goodness. We have some things to talk about today. We may have a guest coming up here. Salty may be coming up to join me in a little bit. Tammy, I'm not fine. I'm not fine. I'm like, see this green halo around me? Like, how do I get rid of that? Probably, I know how I get rid of it. If I actually have an actual studio and not a green screen behind me, then I can probably get rid of that green halo. And I won't feel like I'm coming in from Mars. Jamie. Oh, Jamie, crack me up. Anyway, we do have some serious things to talk about today. Obviously, we need to talk about the flooding in Texas and the recovery efforts. It's no longer a rescue effort. Obviously, it's been a week. That was on the 4th, and today is the 12th. So that's 8 days. We're not in rescue anymore. We're in recovery mode, and it's a heavy topic. Kermit Glow. Oh, why are there so many songs about rainbows and what's on the other side? Kermit Glow. We have a couple of stories that I want to go over about the flooding, and then some other stories that are not about the flooding, just because it's such a heavy topic. it's such a heavy topic, and I personally know 3 people who are boots on the ground helping in the recovery efforts in Texas, and it weighs on me. I'm not gonna lie, it weighs on me. Salty, good morning. Good morning to you. You're muted. That's okay.
Hey, so
Hi.
I don't know if you can, I don't know, I'm on my phone, so if I sound crackly, let me know. But right now my PC does not want to connect to the Wi-Fi, so I don't know what's happening. I don't know.
Yep, you're cooking up some fajitas. You
Oh
are.
goodness. Wow. I don't know why my phone's speaker's been acting up, so maybe it's time for an upgrade. Excuse to get a new phone. I don't know. But if I sound messed up, I'll have to go away, and I'm trying to get the computer up and running now. So,
All right. We will be patient and wait for you, and I'll pull up some articles on the flooding. I think I
okay,
have 2 or 3 of them to air out
awesome.
here.
All right.
Okay, so Texas flooding update. This is it's just so disturbing. I did a search on the last major hurricane that went through Florida, and there were 250 deaths reported from the last major hurricane in Florida. And we're going to approach those numbers before we're all said and done. 109 confirmed deceased, 161 missing. We're going to be up over 250 by the time we're all said and done, which is a major hurricane through a major populated state like Florida. And this is in hill country. This is in rural Texas. So these numbers are just astronomical, and they're devastating. Gosh darn it. Are you serious? StreamYard, you and I are going to have a talk. We're going to have a talk. I should just be able to hit present, and this should show up on your screen like it does mine, but it's not. But here we go.
At least 109 people have died in Texas after catastrophic flooding over the weekend, and officials say around 160 are still missing. According to the state's governor, more than 20 state agencies, 1,700 personnel, and nearly 1,000 vehicles are responding to the aftermath. Tonight, Nidia Gavazos joins us from Kerrville as those teams continue to search for any signs of life along the Guadalupe River.
Charisse, the situation out here in Texas continues to get even more complicated as we are now talking about 161 people who remain missing, and this is on top of the 109 that had already been confirmed to have lost their lives over the weekend. Officials in Kirk County, Texas, continue to search for those who remain unaccounted for in the wake of the deadly 4th of July flash floods. More than 100 people have been confirmed dead, and many more are missing.
Just in the Kerr County area alone, there are 161 people who are known to be missing.
On Tuesday, Texas Governor Greg Abbott took to the skies to survey the damage of the...
So they're finally reporting on the number of missing persons besides just the Camp Mystic, which is good. They were originally reluctant to share those numbers, but now they have enough outside information to be able to confirm that there are 161 people still missing, and we're 8 days after the flooding. So, I mean, the chances of finding them alive are obviously not very good. So 109 plus 161, that's 270. I can math sometimes. Just so devastating. 270.
area. 5 campers and 1 counselor from Camp Mystic, a girls' camp in Kirk County, are still missing. Among the young campers who survived, there are feelings of guilt.
It's hard to hear because they were so young. I feel guilty that we were so safe and oblivious while they were living hell on earth.
Lily and Paige Kummerfeld have gone to Camp Mystic for nearly a decade and were there at the time of the floods.
It happened so quickly that no one really had time.
For their parents, the hours-long wait to find out if their daughter survived the floods was excruciating.
When I heard Lily's voice from the EMS phone, it was the sweetest sound I'd ever heard.
Jamie, I think that camp had the capacity for 700. I've heard from different people because it's like in two different places. The part of the camp was up around where the entrance was, and then there was the new part of the camp that was down around along the creek. So 700 to 800, and that's probably a blessing that there weren't more girls that were lost, girls and campers, girls and boys. I think it was girls and boys over the entire camp. This part of the camp, I think, was girls only, but either way, it could have been a lot worse, but it could have been a lot better.
Yeah, Camp Mystic was all girls, and like Dizzy has even commented that I'd heard that too. Dizzy, up to 800 campers possibly were there. It is a miracle, that that's the right word to use, that more lives weren't lost if there were that many kids actually there.
Yeah. So hard.
She goes, "Hi, Mom, it's Lily." And it was the best sound.
For now, local officials are not taking any questions as to what could have been done different, how could more lives have been saved, and were enough alerts sent out on time. For now, they say their priority is finding those who are still missing. I'm Nidia Cavazos for WWL Louisiana.
And the tragedy is touching people in our area. Today, we spoke to a North Shore man who says his daughter-in-law and two young grandchildren barely survived or barely escaped that rising water. Dr. Michael Sprague shared images of their cabin taken after the flood. His daughter-in-law has been a counselor at Camp Mystic for years, and Thursday took her 6- and 9-year-olds to see the camp for the first time. Then early Friday morning, the Guadalupe River started to rise. It is normally about 100 feet away from the cabin, but within hours, the water was lapping at their porch. At 3:45, they decided to get out.
They waded out in shin-deep water. It was pitch dark. They didn't know where they were going. They made a left-hand turn and got a little higher. And for 3 hours, they waited on a hill for the sun to come up.
The National Guard got them out of that area that evening, and thankfully, none of them were hurt. Like so many other natural disasters, the United Cajun Navy is on the front lines, and their call to action comes from what they describe as inadequate government response to hurricanes like Katrina and Helene. As the water recedes, searches have gone from boats to horseback and on foot, and they plan to continue their mission this week. Now, meanwhile, Raising Cane's owner and founder Todd Graves is chipping in $1 million to the American Red Cross. You can find ways to help those impacted on our website, our free smartphone app.
It's just so disturbing. And it, like, right away I had questions, and people have questions now. I mean, it's hard to know when do you ask those questions and when do you get answers to those questions.
People get real sensitive, and like I told you when we chatted, the point in time is going to come where I'm going to start wanting to know how this happened and why. If anything happened at all, could it have been prevented? Too many kids. We can't blow this off and say, oh, it's just a tragic accident. Was it? Was there something that could have been done more? Because there's children literally involved here, and it happened in '87, and now it's happened again. When are we going to ask a question and learn our lesson? When are we going to say, hey, what's happened here? Is something wrong with that? Am I going to be made to feel like I'm not empathetic if I ask a question? Because trust me, I've got tons of empathy for these parents and these children. So much so that I want answers for them.
And we're all going to have to start asking those questions and demanding those answers. Hold on, I got
Yeah,
it.
eventually we do. And I don't think it's cool to make people feel like they aren't being empathetic if they ask a question. It's
Right,
not,
exactly.
it doesn't make you not empathetic for what's happened. It makes you the opposite, in my opinion.
I'm going to play one more. Yeah,
Sometimes getting mad is necessary.
yeah, to affect change.
Yeah.
And if you're not out there recognizing that something needs to change after this, then is the problem with you or is it with me? Because I do want change.
Thank you. I think we should also help keep the focus on the long-term efforts there, like the Megans of the world who are out there trying their best to help, to be physically there, not just a boots on the ground to report to you what's happening, but to physically be there and be getting their hands dirty. There's a difference between somebody like that and somebody saying, hey, I got information because I'm here, right? Megan's actually being hands-on, and she's giving out good information of where you can help and things like that. And that's that needs not going away anytime soon when you're trying to rebuild your entire life. And on top of that, trying to bury a child.
I can't imagine, and I don't want to imagine.
No, when your child passes, you got a lot of decisions that you need to make super quickly, and you don't feel like you have time to breathe. Like, what is happening? Why am I in this funeral home? I shouldn't be here. You got to make so many decisions real quick, like before you even realize what has happened, that funeral's over. That's when the reality sits in, because you just don't even know how you just handled those past 3 days of making decisions, or why you were even there to start with, right? It's a child. But then the hard part comes. So I hope that everybody that's affected can get the help they need, and these parents can figure out ways to move forward and deal with what's just happened to them.
Yeah. And they additionally, they have to deal with, some of them, with their children just now being found.
Yeah.
Like just now being found. There are still 160 people missing. So
yeah, and that overwhelming urge as a parent to be out there and be trying to look for your child, right? I know me well enough to know I don't care what they told me, you're gonna have to hold me back to keep me from going out there and physically searching myself. I understand we don't want parents to be the ones to find them and blah, 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 blah. I get it all. But as a parent, I'm telling you, I'm going out there and I'm going to search. Even if I'm the one that finds them, at least I found them. All right. So I'm not, it's just, it's a lot to take in.
it is. And how much more so devastating for those parents who may never find their children.
Mm-hmm.
That's
exactly.
They're going to need help to move on.
There's a lot of debris that was moved, a lot of debris, and we don't know hate to get graphic, but could be bodies under debris, things of that nature. How far down river that, like Joe said, they may never be found. Hopefully they can be, but
yeah, there was a situation almost exactly a year ago here in West Lafayette, Indiana, where a student unalived himself by jumping off of the bridge over the Wabash River. And the bridges accumulate debris at their footings, at their pillars. Mm-hmm. They accumulate debris, and that makes it unsafe for divers to go in. Divers can't go in there and rummage through the debris.
Oh no, I've seen it firsthand. Like just the other day, we had a thunderstorm roll through. It was like an all-day event. There was flooding down by the creeks and this, that, and the other one. My son wanted to go down there and check it out, so I rode with him. Of course, we have tons of little bridges around here everywhere. They're just part of life. We went across one. He's like, that's never been there. But when you look down in the water had risen. There was just this huge pile, right, of debris from the river itself. We're talking tree limbs, branches, just the river stuff all piled up and accumulates right there by these bridges, like Joe was saying. And that's a common occurrence in Florida. But getting through all that stuff it takes work. You can't just jump in, like you said, Joe. You can't just dive in and do it. It's a process to get all that, to go through all that.
And at some point in time, you can't ever get in there and sift through all of that stuff. And
yeah, there's some areas of those rivers that just aren't that easily accessible. You know, I'll be on the river next weekend, and I guarantee you, we're going to take the boats out, and there's going to be little sloughs and this, that. There's washed ups here and washed up, but my dad knows that river like the back of his hand. But there's areas where you can absolutely see where the river flooding occurred and debris downriver, but into the parts of the river people never go unless they're actively out there in the boats that you can only access by boat. And those are the areas that may never get looked at.
And that's just under normal river conditions. That's not
right.
even in a flood condition.
Right.
So,
because I'll go into areas people that don't know the river will never know about because they don't know the river. And you literally got to get into the boats to go down to the sandbar. And there's a lot of places on those rivers you can access by boat only. I'm sure it's no different there on that river as well.
Yeah. One more story.
This time last week on Daybreak, we brought you team coverage just 24 hours after deadly flooding in central Texas. Unfortunately, 8 days later, where we are today, we're still seeing the death toll rise. Last night, officials shared an update. At least 129 people have been confirmed dead. Kirk County was hit the hardest with 103 deaths there alone. Over 150 people are still missing this morning. That number does include children. President Trump visited Kirk County yesterday. He and First Lady Melania spoke with first responders, local officials, as well as residents working to pick up the pieces of this tragedy. The president reflecting on what this means for families who have lost loved ones or still searching for them.
The young person that 3 days ago was here, 4 days ago was here and vibrant, and now is no longer here. The search for the missing continues. The people that are doing it are unbelievable people that you couldn't get better people than this anywhere.
Amen. I'm going to play that one more time.
Oh, God. Okay. I don't believe anything the man says up there and says. I don't even know if he does. I don't believe any of them anymore. I'm sorry, y'all. That's just my.
Yeah, I'm not getting
personal
political.
take. I'm not being political. I am
Yep,
not being political. I'm just saying I don't believe anything the man tells me. None of them. He's already trying to do away with FEMA. So what are we sitting here doing?
Oh, no, you didn't. Oh, no, you didn't.
He doesn't care. I almost stop it because I don't want it to be political. I'm not.
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out. I want to echo the shout out to the people who are out there, boots on the ground.
Well, I think other people can come out and give them better shout outs. This guy throws paper towels around like it's nobody's business. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Joe. It's your show. Dizzy says, "Don't get everybody started, Salty." I won't, Dizzy. I'm calming down now. Let me medicate myself, y'all. Hold up. Too much coffee.
There's a gummy out there somewhere for Salty.
I cannot with these political people. They don't know. They don't live in these areas. They will not be there. He will not go stay. They will not go help. They're going to come out and say a few fancy words, get a couple of applause, and move the hell on. Come throw some damn paper towels at a hurricane ravaged place. Go on down there and throw some paper towels around down there. Go on. Sorry. I'll stop now.
No, Jamie agrees with you. You got some people in chat agreeing with you, and I'm not saying I don't disagree with you.
Joe don't like shit to get sideways, and he knows I'll go sideways. No, I'm joking. He does like stuff to go sideways sometimes.
I do. Yes, I do. I try not to, but
why not?
Sometimes you got to.
Stir
Sometimes
the pot,
you got
to. All right, sorry guys, rant over. But I'm just from a natural disaster area, and I can't with those guys.
Hey, Simi. Simi dropped in just to say hey. Hey back,
girl.
Simi.
One of my favorite people.
Yeah, she's a bass player like my son. My son's got a show coming up.
I love a good bass. I'm not even going to lie. Throw me a heavy metal bass in the crowd, and I'm there. Heavy metal guitar, too. I love heavy metal guitar and bass. Can't help it.
All right.
It's 5:47 right now. You know, if you've been here a while, if you've been born and raised here, you know, flooding in the Texas Hill Country is nothing unusual. But this amount obviously is unusual. And there were alerts leading up to July 4th.
Yeah, but no one foresaw the disaster that was coming. Reporter Jason Allen dives into the timeline.
The first sign of trouble came.
Okay. I have a problem with that statement being issued by a news station. No one foresaw this coming. Bullshit. That's why you have flood insurance rate maps that show you where the 100-year floodplain is. People foresaw this coming in a flood not quite this bad, but close to this bad, that killed 10 children, happened in 1987. That's 38 years ago. That's not even 100 years ago. So people want to talk about a 100-year flood. 100-year floods don't happen once every 100 years. They have a 1% chance of happening this year. It happened. They will also have a 1% chance of happening next year. Like it's like playing roulette. Just because you put all of your money on black doesn't mean that it's going to come around and spin on red every time if you put your money on black every time. That's not the way the odds work. It is a 50-50 shot every time for black versus red. It's a 1% chance that this storm happens again next year. So don't tell me people didn't expect this to happen, didn't predict this to happen.
Well, look at Texas as a whole. Y'all remember back a few years ago when they had that big, giant freeze and the whole town, the whole state had to shut down, and Ted Cruz fled. Ted fled the state, took his little family, and went off to the damn tropics while his state was in a deep freeze and nobody had electricity. The grid, the infrastructure, all the things they can't, oh my God, everybody's running their heat. We can't handle it. Now you got this massive flood and nobody saw it coming. Where's all your money going in Texas that's supposed to save your people? The ones that voted for all you people in Texas, what's going on there? Bigger things need to be asked. And you're right. They should have seen some of this coming. And when you didn't learn your lesson in 87, think about hurricane countries. We learn our lesson from the last hurricane. What could we have done differently? Now Florida has some of the best hurricane responses in the country. We have to. We can't let our people just die because we don't know what the hell to do when storm passes. What are they doing over there? I don't know. I don't know what.
There is literally a federal agency, multiple federal agencies that predicted this flood and told them not to build in the floodplain, and they did it anyways. But
so who allowed that to happen, though?
That I want to know. I want answers.
I mean, you have
somebody
to,
tell
you
me
have to apply
right
for
now.
Permits to build on a property. Who signed off on those permits? That shouldn't be hard to figure out if we can get into the system and pull up the records.
Wednesday, July 2nd, 2 days before the flood. The Texas Division of Emergency Management activated state emergency response resources, citing increased threats of flooding. On Thursday, the National Weather Service brought in extra staff to monitor for flooding and issued a flood watch. At 1:14 a.m. local time on Friday, the agency sent out its first emergency alert for Kerr County. That triggered cell phone alerts and weather radios, but it did not mention evacuation. It sent another alert at 3:35 a.m. Again, no mention of evacuation. At 4:03 a.m., Kerr County residents were urged to move to higher ground now, calling the flood an extremely dangerous and life-threatening situation. Time-lapse video shows the water level rising to 23.4 feet in Kerrville. It only took 45 minutes for the Guadalupe River to rise 26 feet in some places. The hill country is widely known as Flash Flood Alley because of the intense rain that hits the hills.
I got questions about that.
Me
Go
too.
ahead.
And the fact that when that low pressure sat there And when I'm telling y'all, these low pressures, they dump an astronomical amount of tropical type rain. We deal with them here in Florida all the time. That's how a hurricane starts. And this came out of the Gulf. A low pressure system, a weak tropical storm rolls in. By the time it hits land, it's not a tropical storm anymore. They become something else. So, and as it moved up and it stalls over there, you got a low pressure system with a ton of rain, and you didn't expect this could happen. Florida's saying, what were y'all thinking? We know better. I don't know why they didn't. Then I have to go back to how Texas is run and what I've seen in the past with, fleeing the state when shit gets real.
Yeah, what was that, Harvey, that was a major problem for them a couple years ago?
Yeah.
Hurricane Harvey.
Yeah,
they're
Harvey
not
was bad.
Yeah, that was.
I mean, they're just as hurricane prone as we are. On the coast, Galveston, all of that. In 1800s, Galveston Bay was destroyed by a hurricane. I'm talking over 1,000 people lost their lives. But that was the 1800s. Prediction wasn't what it is today. They just had to go out and check out the barometric pressure. Oh, it's dropping, storm might be coming. And then you got stick buildings built everywhere because nobody had, an idea these storms could come, and building codes and all that. So the whole town was wiped out. But Texas should have learned something just from their hurricane history alone. But I don't guess they have. Maybe we should send them some notes or something. I don't know.
Those hurricanes can come up from the Yucatan Peninsula in a heartbeat.
Well, that's how they all start. I have to keep it. Right now, the Yucatan. Okay, soon I'll be in the Cape Verde season where I'm going to have storms rolling off the coast of Africa. They're the ones to watch because that baby's got all this time to cook across the Atlantic Ocean. And they cross the Cape Verde Islands. We have to really start watching them. Don't know where they're going to go yet because they're so far out. But the Yucatan Peninsula is something I have to keep an eye on because it's right there at the mouth of the Gulf. If they get into the Gulf, they have nowhere else to go but land to somebody on the Gulf. They don't go turn around and go back out to the Atlantic. No, they're coming to land, and they'll pop out in the Gulf, and then you got 3 days notice, and that's it. If they're coming out of the Atlantic, we got weeks to watch them. But the ones that pop up in the Gulf, boom, they're there. Now, who's going to get it? Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Florida, Alabama. Somebody's getting it.
What was that one that just happened a couple of years ago that came up from the Yucatan that brewed overnight? It went from the Yucatan to the Panhandle almost overnight.
Yeah, that was our last one. I can't remember its name, but it barely missed us. Thank God. Yeah, it went down. Because they thought it was coming here, but it went down just a little bit from us. We didn't get that one. But I'm used to it. I know they can pop up out there today, and tomorrow I could have a storm sitting on top of me. That's why we stay prepared. In hurricane season, you can't not stay prepared.
And I don't think that Kirk County was prepared.
No.
For all of the visitors, all the campers, most, if not all of those campers, all of those 700 to 800 people that were at Camp Mystic and up the road at Camp Hunta were not prepared for this. They were not advised. They were not educated. Their camp counselors were not educated and prepared for the most part, obviously.
And I can't remember the last place this happened. It was huge, just like this. I don't remember where it was. I need to research it and pull up that old story. But it was a big campground just like this. The rains came in just like this and filled up that basin and flooded the entire campground, and a lot of people died. I'll never forget it. And then when I saw this, I was like, oh God, not again. And that's when my mind goes to our popular campgrounds, and I know how we'll close them down with an impending thunderstorm if we're planning to get a lot of rain. You got to get people out of the low-lying areas. So I don't know if they just thought, oh, it'll never happen again, what happened in 87. Let's just roll with it and take a chance with all these kids. I don't know.
Sorry, therapist. I'm not here to ruffle your feathers. It's so disturbing to me, and I feel like, and it's a feeling, and it's what goes through my head. Maybe we can do better next time. Maybe we don't have to have 200 people die in a flood. So you keep being bristly, and I'm going to keep asking questions.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
we
I
can
think
meet
they
somewhere.
agree, though.
We can meet somewhere in the middle, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think we all feel that way. We get defensive about our states if we really like our states. But yeah, and I'm telling y'all this because Florida has had major pushback over the years in every way imaginable. From Children Department of Families to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement to all of these different things. People are like, whoa, wait, this is really happening and we don't even know? Hold up, we're not happy about this. Change came about. So yeah, I think therapists feels like we do. You love your state, but is there time for questions, right? So they can do better for you guys.
It falls on limestone and the runoff roars down canyons. Back in 1987, a flash flood killed 10 teenage campers.
Here we go, 1987. Holy cow, Salty. Salty played this on her channel the other day, and it was disturbing. There was a flood that was about 3 feet lower than the flood waters reached in Comfort this year in 1987, and there was a school bus and a truck that was driving behind the school bus that were lost in the flood waters, and 10 of those campers, 10 of those children lost their lives, and it was very, very disturbing. That was 38 years ago, and now we're seeing death tolls that are much, much higher than this. Why?
CBS News teams captured video as people were rescued from treetops and out of the raging river. 8 years ago, local officials say a lack of funding prevented emergency sirens from being installed. Today, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick told us the state could fund an emergency alert system.
If they can't afford to do it, then let us do it.
Is that a possibility?
Sure. We have a special session starting 2 weeks from today. And I think we can take that up and do some other things of funding these sirens. If there had been a siren, maybe that would have sparked people to say, we have a massive disaster like 5 minutes away.
You think? This is 2025. This isn't 1985. This isn't 2005. This is 2025. And we're just now talking about installing emergency sirens, warning sirens.
They had warning sirens in 1985. We weren't ancient in 85.
Right?
I mean, I wasn't. Jesus. No. I had good time in 85. Yeah, I mean, but you're right. It's 2025. And if this was a possibility at any level which kids were involved, safety comes first. But then again, go back to the Texas infrastructure and how much money they really spent on it. Apparently none.
I have more to tell you.
Okay. Like I said, I have 3 people that I know and care about that are their boots on the ground helping with the recovery efforts. So I'm praying for all of the people that are out there in Kirk County and surrounding areas responding to this. They're amazing people. They're heroes to me. So and also praying for the families that are still missing their loved ones to get closure of some kind. So I'm going to switch topics now. I got to switch it up. I got to get off. This is such a heavy topic to me. I can't even explain.
Well, I think a lot of us feel that. I mean, I had to put it all down for a minute. It was too close to a certain date for me that made me think about things. I've been in a house being destroyed while it filled up with water. I know that flight or fight feeling, what to do next. It affected me a whole hell of a lot. It was very triggering. I have PTSD from what I went through during the hurricane, then losing my child 6 months later. I went through all the things these people are feeling. It became very heavy. But then I get to that point where I get mad that it even happened. That's what I'm trying to avoid. You know what I mean? I don't want to put that's why I didn't go live for a day about it. I didn't want to project my feelings into my reporting on it. But I know me enough. I get mad. And I'm like, I want answers. This should not happen to one child, let alone 100, 10, 5. I don't care. We have lost double the amount of children we lost back in 87 from the same exact thing. As a parent will never make sense to me. So I think we all feel a lot of that heaviness, and we appreciate everybody out there, boots on the ground. And somebody who's from an area where we depend on people like Megan, I absolutely applaud all of their efforts. And if I could be closer, I'd be there too. But unfortunately, I live in a whole other state, so I can't be there. So all I can do is offer support from this end. So absolutely, Megan, everybody down there who are boots on the ground, they will never know how much they are actually appreciated. So,
Megan and Caleb and Amy. Yeah. Just calling you out right now. Thank you so much for being there.
Like I said, even if it's to hand out water or to drive food down a ravaged street or to go help people clean out their homes like Megan was doing the other day, those things right there are what matters to people who are living in that.
Yes, therapist, and Zach too. Yes, Zach is there too. Zach is funny because Zach comes into chat and he raises hell in chat. Like he comes in, I'm gonna say this. He comes in salty.
My kind of guy.
He is. Like he'll come in and just like stir the pot, just to stir the pot.
Well, I don't do it just to stir it. I mean,
no, he does though. Zach does though. Zach does. Like he'll just come in and like drop some things in chat.
Yeah.
And you have to like learn to take him with a grain of salt, and I do, and I have, and I appreciate him. Yep.
Therapist says he Kool-Aid man's into chat. I like people like that. Maybe sometimes like bust up in here like that. We might bust right back. Hell.
That's right. If you can dish it out, then you should be able to take it.
Amen.
All right. I'm going to go to a TikTok story now.
Uh-oh.
If that's okay.
Not the TikTok.
Yeah, the TikTok story.
TikTok is funny sometimes.
I just started my Schmoe TikTok account, and I think I have like 4 followers now on TikTok.
I abandoned mine. Oh, and they start talking about taking the app down, selling the app, doing all this mischievous shit with the app. I'm like, I cannot manage. I don't want to manage TikTok and YouTube. It's one or the other. And I never went live on TikTok, never wanted to. They tried to entice me a million ways to get me to go live on TikTok. I'm like, no, thank you. You guys are weird.
They are. TikTokers are weird.
Yeah, it's a whole different type of platform. And I got a TikTok account, but I pretty much abandoned it. There's no reason for me to put anything on TikTok. But hey, y'all go for it.
Regarding the teen girl who was arrested this week for allegedly killing her mom and stepdad in Georgia in February. Her name is Sarah Grace Patrick, and she didn't just post on TikTok mourning the loss of her parents. She did a lot more.
Why would you ask me to cover a case where you are going to get arrested for taking your parents' lives?
It turns out she also reached out to several crime creators on TikTok, encouraging them to look into the case. One of those creators is going to join me to talk about what Sarah Grace Patrick told her and the chilling comments she left on her account that you just have to see. We're on the case presented by Law and Crime. I'm Chris Stewart.
So one of the things that's fascinating to me about this is content creators becoming part of the story themselves.
Well, that's part of what TikTok does.
And it's not just TikTok, though. It's also spreading into the other content creation realms. Like there was...
A lot of people reach out to TikTokers. Yeah. You're
Yeah,
breaking up. Is it just me or is it you? Hold on.
it could be either one. I hear you breaking up too. Breaking up is hard to do.
Oh God. Oh God. He did not make me just go like, what do I say next? That's rare. Shit. A lot of people reach out to social media true crimers now. You have to be careful out there on these streets. People be hitting you up in your
Well,
DMs. You know, you're like,
we're seeing them, and you know this before I knew this. We're seeing them pop up in court cases too. Like Lauren Matthias with Hidden True Crime showed up in a Lori Daybell court hearing.
dude, there's a handful out there that's been we got them.
And I have
go ahead.
I have mixed feelings about it.
Depends on why they're in the court document. Some insert themselves to make sure they're in the court document. Some end up there accidentally. Sometimes it depends if you bite when somebody reaches out without vetting information or doing, just running with it, whatever. You have to be careful. But true crime TikTok, true crime YouTube, two different worlds, two different audiences.
Really? Tell me more. Tell me more.
Yeah. Because my TikTok account was before my YouTube. And I started that TikTok for one purpose, to put out Idaho 4 documents, because there was so much bull being put out about Idaho 4. Bad information, misinformation. People didn't understand the document. I'm like, well, they're intelligent. They can read. So instead of having TikTokers tell them, let me just go show them. So I began a TikTok. And before I knew it, I had following. I had people commenting. I mean, I had a very active TikTok community, but it's a very different community. They won't all come to YouTube, and YouTube won't go all to TikTok. And the way they go live, the way they present their stories, the way it's all very, very different. I can do so much more deep dives here on YouTube than TikTok's like a fast-paced true crime world, and misinformation and bad information, just like in any other platform, can be run rampant. And there was so much constantly on TikTok. I can't even take half them people seriously. I don't even know where they're getting their information. And I know for a fact in the Idaho 4 case, several TikTokers got together behind the scenes to cause problems in the case, made up a bunch of stuff, lied about a bunch of stuff, purposely set out to put out misinformation. Then they trickled and found their way to YouTube because YouTube creators saw it and they're like, hey, come talk to me. Boom. A horrible situation was born from TikTok, and Idaho 4 meets YouTube. It's just a long story, dude. To me, they're very different.
TikTok feels to me like a platform for people with short attention spans. I guess that's the best way I can put it.
Yeah. And I just, I think I looked at TikTok the other day because somebody sent me something and it was a TikTok. So I had to go on there to look at it. My account's still there. People still commenting on my videos. But I'm like, I don't even go on there anymore. I got enough to do besides trying to man all these social media places. I'm just going to stick to the YouTubes. I rarely post on Twitter.
Yeah. I did during Lori Daybell's trials, but I haven't much since.
Yeah, I don't.
That was kind of fun though. Like sitting and fun. I use that term loosely. Don't misinterpret it, please.
Right.
But sitting there next to Nate Eaton, and he's like doing his Twitter thing, and I'm doing my Twitter thing. It was almost like a contest. Like who can tweet the most? No, that's not what it's about.
That's not what it's about. Yeah.
No. It was two different people watching the same trial with different perspectives. That's what I enjoyed about it.
And you're tweeting out different things that are being said or whatever.
Exactly.
If I can watch the trial, I don't usually watch the tweets that are about what's happening in the trial because I'm literally sitting here watching it. So I don't even usually see those tweets, honestly. Unless Delphi or Kentucky where you can't see shit.
That's kind of where I think I evolved a little bit as a court reporter because I knew that you guys could watch the witness and the attorneys on TV. And so I was trying to focus on watching the things that you couldn't see on TV, the jury and the bailiff and some of Lori's things that they weren't showing. Like I think I evolved a little bit during the second trial more so than I did the first trial.
Well, and people who can't, like people who are at work or whatever and aren't watching the trial, they may check their Twitter accounts for updates for stuff like that. And so there's a need for it. It's just wasn't one of my needs. I didn't, you know what I mean?
Sure.
There's nothing wrong with
absolutely.
it. And it's appreciated when people just want to get a quick update. They know you're going to be there. So go check it out. Right. Nothing wrong with that.
Oh, and then we have sentencing coming up on the 25th. Holy cow. That's only 13 days away, people. 13 days. That's less than holy cow. That's less than 2 weeks. Salty. That's less than 2 weeks. I got to go out there. All right, let's watch this this TikTok case that I started and I haven't finished yet.
Before I get to this update involving the Sarah Grace Patrick case in Georgia, which is a huge story that we've been following, I also have a huge announcement to make for those of you who love to watch police body camera video.
Oh, good.
We know you love the action, but this is who say the authorities. 5-year-old sister found her parents, Kristin and James Brock, shot dead. Just think about that. Sarah Grace also claims that it was her little sister who then alerted her, and then she alerted the authorities. But now we know that was allegedly a lie. Sarah Grace posted this on TikTok saying the loss of her parents hit her when, quote, I see my 5-year-old sister screaming, crying for her mommy and daddy. I can't say it enough. Sarah Grace is the one who is now charged and accused of being the person who killed that little girl's mom and dad. Sarah has also posted about needing help with her mental health and needing to call a hotline for that and being depressed. So we are working to learn more about her mental health history as that part of the case carries on. But before I get you caught up on the social media part of the story, and that is a huge part of this story, I want you to know about the victims, James and Kristin Brock. And from what we have seen, members of their community love them. Their family loved them. They love their faith. They were avid churchgoers in Carrollton, Georgia, a small, quiet town where stuff like this rarely happens. James and Kristin, they were a blended family as well. They were parents to that young little girl and the mom and stepdad to Sarah Grace Patrick. In the days, weeks, and months after the murders, Sarah was very vocal on social media, specifically on TikTok. She posted these videos, montages within days of the murders, memorializing her parents. This one says that she sleeps so she can see her mom, Kristin, who
Okay, so there's nothing real funky about that, right? He says the way he says it, he like insinuates there's something suspicious about it, but he said she posted these montages within days of the funeral. I'm like, that's okay. I'm
These
okay with that.
TikTokers sensationalize everything, and these kids go to TikTok and see these true crime posts, and it's all sensationalized and it's surface level. There's to me, it's glamorization of crime. And some of these kids are going to absolutely fall into it, just like the girls who murdered over Stickman. If you know, you know. These kids buy into all this social media stuff, and there's your danger. It's always a danger. So know your kids and know what they're freaking doing. But for this girl was probably consuming a lot of these TikTokers, and then she's reaching out to them as well. Did she think she learned stuff from these TikTokers and she wouldn't get caught because she's that dumb? I think a lot of it's, and if you watch a lot of the TikTokers, they just sensationalize the hell out of it, dude. It's funky. I can't. Not saying what he's saying is wrong, because this case I already know about this case, right? I've already looked into it and reviewed the stuff, and it's sad. But I think that a lot of it too comes with that Instagram lifestyle. You know, what's she consuming on the TikTok here? And they sensationalize the heck out of stuff and don't really go into any deep dives about any of it.
I like me a deep dive. I guess I won't be.
Don't come out and just tell me a few things. Just tell me.
Right?
I don't like knowing just a little bit. I like to know it all.
Yes.
She allegedly killed. Other images show her crying with makeup running down her face, asking how someone could take her mom and stepdad away, people who she loved so much. She was a regular commenter also on posts and stories related to the murders that she allegedly committed, accepting plenty of thoughts and prayers. You can see on this one, she replies less than a month after she allegedly killed her parents with, quote, I love you, thank you. On top of that, Sarah Grace spoke at her parents' funeral at their church. This is per WSB TV.
Although there's nothing we can do to bring them back, we still have control over how we treat people.
But we have found it goes deeper than that. She appears to have taken the initiative to reach out to TikTokers who cover true crime, encouraging them to research, report, and talk about the murders that she is now accused of committing as if she was someone looking for justice for her parents.
Y'all, this is Sarah Grace, and she messaged me back on.
This is the part that interests me. This is the part that interests me.
June 3rd and just said, search up Brock case.
This is the account called Allegedly Reportedly. It has more than 130,000 followers. Not only did Sarah Grace reach out to this account, she left some chilling comments. Look at this.
And she commented, thank you for spreading awareness. She also replied to this person who asked what was used in this crime, and she answered.
She answers with an emoji of a gun. These comments also are just within the last month. Now, it is unclear as far as the investigation is concerned, whether or not law enforcement has that murder weapon and whether it's been recovered, but that's not the only comment. Look at this one.
This person commented and said, from an investigative standpoint, it would seem that it was someone who knew them, hoping for answers and swift justice. Sarah Grace, the daughter and stepdaughter of these victims who has now been arrested, said most definitely was since they knew the house.
That was on June 9th. And allegedly, reportedly, wasn't the only account that Sarah Grace contacted. This is from the account Jade Talks Crime.
TikToker Sarah Grace Patrick, age 17, reached out to me to tell me that she wanted me to research the case.
She also apparently spoke with this creator on the phone as recently as last month.
So Sarah reached out to me on Sunday, and we spoke on the phone, and we spoke via text. And she asked me to speak on her behalf about the night of 2/20/25.
Here's what Sarah Grace allegedly told TikToker Kelly Brown.
Sarah has confirmed that she was awake the night of the incident and heard nothing out of the normal. Those are her words, nothing out of the normal. But she did hear James's LVAD machine, which is his heart machine that kept his heart pumping. She did hear that alarm going off throughout the night. So those are the two things that she wanted me to share with you guys.
According to the Carroll County Sheriff.
Holy cow, Carroll County.
Yeah, Joe, when I heard that, I was like, what did they say? And this was like a couple days ago. I'm at Carroll County, and I had to like really focus, and I'm like, oh, I get it now. Because I was like, at first, I was like, holy shit, I need to call Joe. And that was my first thought, dude. But I figured it out. But yeah, the way this girl was reaching out to these TikTokers, I think she might have been trying to become famous herself. Y'all get me on the show, interview me, talk to me.
Right.
Look at me.
And so let's talk a little bit about Dr. Walla. Speaking of Carroll County.
Oh Lord.
Dr. Walla got involved with some true crime channels, with some true crime chats.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think she was trying to become famous.
I don't know what her end game was. Honestly, just other than being nosy, maybe that kind of person. Don't know how to be professional. But yeah, she was in Facebook groups chatting it up. And Dr. Walla is a prison psychiatrist that was taking care of Richard Allen in the Delphi case. And she was out there commenting it up in the Facebook groups, sharing information with Gray Hughes, apparently. They knew about the white van long before Brad Weber got on the witness stand and said he was in a white van. Yeah.
And she, I don't think she was trying to become famous. I just don't know what the frick she was doing.
Well, no, but even like the Summer Wells case, a lot the parents come out and spoke. The Idaho 4 case, the parents come out and speak. People do this. And then there are Brooke Houck just got charged with Crystal Rogers' murder. He went on Nancy Grace. I didn't do this. I saw Crystal last. She was fine. That whole show got subpoenaed as well, but he just got found guilty. But yet he was out there living large on Nancy Grace. I didn't do this. Nancy, I don't know where she could be. People do that. People are bizarre. And will come out and do it. Look at Lori Vallow. I didn't do anything wrong. I'm following God's word. They don't care. They know they're guilty. They've done it. And for whatever narcissistic reason or psychopathic reason, they're out there trying to convince the world they didn't do anything wrong. And they honestly, I guess, believe they can get away with that. How does that feel in the back of their mind, knowing I really did this, but I'm out here and pretending I didn't, and people are just loving on me until they don't? It's weird. I don't know what provokes people to think that's okay or that they can get away with it. It's weird.
It's a weird aspect of our society that
it is.
that has evolved a lot over the last 30 years. Like since we had, since if you go back to the 60s, most households had at the most one TV. And then in the 80s, we moved up to 2 TVs. And then in the 90s, we got cell phones. And then in the 2000s, they started evolving into smartphones. And, the 2010 plus, all of our phones are a TV studio.
Yep.
In our hand. We can become our own news reporter, news anchor, and have our own channels. Oh, wait, look, I've got a channel. I do. I have my own channel. And I don't. Is that what's driving these TikTok things to go?
Well, the true crime TikTok, I think, was born during the pandemic. People are at home. People were into true crime already, and that platform was born. And it was ripe for it, I guess. I don't know. I didn't mess around on the TikTok. I didn't realize all that true crime TikTok stuff was out there. But with social media as a whole, people are going to choose whatever their method of preferred platform is, whether it's TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. For some people, it's all of it. Twitter, whatever their playground may be. There's just a lot more information, super fast. Everybody's got a phone now. Like you said, we're able to see people in a lot more ways than we were ever to before. And we're realizing there are a lot of weird people out there that, bizarre people. There's a lot of bad things that happen to people, and killers and all the different things, psychopaths that exist among us that we didn't realize how much of them there were, right? Until social media, true crime type stuff, and get it out to a larger population. Before social media, what did we all do? Watch Dateline, 2020, 48 Hours, things like that, right? Well, whatever the cable TVs were offering us. And then you insert social media. YouTube can be just as bad as the TikTokers, right? I'm not even saying all TikTokers are bad, because I honestly don't know. But the ones I have seen, it's like, this is weird. It just feels like a sensational entertainment package, I guess you could call it. I don't do it for entertainment. I mean, it entertains me to talk about true crime, but not like that, where it's like, oh, real fast, and let me throw all this out there real quick and crazy. But I think people have a lot more ways to reach out, like this girl reaching out on TikTok to these TikTokers. You have people who will reach out to YouTubers as well. It's a phenomenon, I think, that we're just it's there, you know what I mean, because of social media and how easy it is. It's what you do with the information, how you present it, how you but if your community's into that dramatization and that 10 minutes worth, right,
Yep. So Jesse makes a good point. Toxic influence loop. I love that.
That's
that is
true.
a great,
That's the way it feels on TikTok to me. And with, like, how can people take just a couple of minutes of a video and like, oh, I got all the facts of the case now. I found that odd. And so when I started doing the true crime channel, which I'd already planned to do when I did the TikTok, but diving deeper into the situation, look at all the aspects, is to me more fun and more. It's easier to understand the case and getting these couple minute quips over on the TikTok, But I think that because the social media is the way it is, people can just go insert themselves into cases. They can get their 5 minutes of fame. Then you got psychopaths doing weird stuff. So there's just always be careful out there in social media world. Is all I can keep telling people.
You can never let your guard down.
No, you can't.
It sucks. It sucks because we should be able to interact. Just interact normally as human beings. You be a decent human being. I'll be a decent human being. We don't have to agree on everything.
Exactly.
In fact, let's disagree on a lot of things, but respectfully so. And let's talk it out.
I mean, you can just you can do that. It's just so stay in your lane kind of thing, ignore it all. But sometimes it's hard to ignore it all. But it just, the people that come out of the woodworks, and then people who are involved in these cases, that they're the ones that amaze me. Like this girl, she did it, but here she is reaching out to TikTokers and saying she, help me out. And like, what was she thinking? What are people thinking who put themselves into it like that? I don't know.
office, James had survived major heart surgery and he may have been in need of a heart transplant, but he was a fighter. And a tragic part of this story is that his life was cut short this way. Not only did Sarah Grace post on TikTok about her parents like this one on Mother's Day, she also would post images as if she was continuing to live her life. It was just a week ago. She posted this from what appears to be a trip to the beach for the 4th of July. Deputies say even though Sarah Grace was 16 at the time she killed her mom and stepdad, she's now 17 years old. She is facing charges as an adult. She is facing 2 counts of first-degree murder and 2 counts of assault.
Wait, so she's 17 now. She was 16 then. So it was a year ago that she killed her parents and they're just now arresting her. Is that the situation, Salty? And I have questions. She's 17 now and she was 16 at the time. I think that's what he just said.
Assault. Another part of the story that we're watching is deputies say that more arrests are possible in this case. Joining us now to talk more about this case is one of the creators on TikTok who Sarah Grace Patrick, it appears, reached out to cover the case she's now accused of, charged with the murder of her mom and stepdad, the creator behind allegedly, reportedly. I know in the TikTok true crime world, when it comes to first names and things like that, keeping information is very important. So we'll honor that. But thank you for joining me. In leading into this interview, we talked a little bit about some of the posts that you had and the comments that Sarah Grace left on your content. I'll just start right out of the gate. I mean, what was your reaction when you saw that she was actually charged with the murders?
Just absolute shock. Trying to sort through any time a teenager is arrested and charged with taking their parents' lives. That is shocking. But to double it, this is a teenager who asked me to cover this case, who emailed me her version of events of what happened that night, who replied to comments in ways that are now very chilling to look back on, but I didn't realize it. So the day the arrest happened, I was in a state of shock for hours. Yeah, shock.
Let's go back to when she first reached out to you. When was that?
That was on June 3rd. So that was the first time I had even heard of the James and Kristin Brock case. Her first message only said, look into the Brock case. And the only Brock I had readily available in my brain was Brock Turner. So I asked if that's what she meant, and it was not. She said, my parents, James and Kristin Brock. And I had a post up 2 days later for her, and she thanked me for it, started replying to comments. Yeah.
And there was a couple comments that I know you've posted in the last 20.
So the fact that she reached out to a content creator on TikTok and asked her to cover this particular case is crazy to me.
How did, I mean, and did she think she did a good enough job? No one was going to figure out she did it.
Right.
Not even the TikTokers. I mean, they can figure out some stuff. I'm not saying they're idiots. I'm just saying the way they present their stuff is weird. But yeah, I'm not here to judge them, but yeah, she's young, you know what I mean? And they don't think like we do. Her brain capacity is not all there. This girl thought she could do it. Now, I guess maybe she has some mental issues already. I don't know.
And maybe she's not guilty, but I mean,
yeah.
Guilty until
innocent
until proved, right? Oh no!
I got
that wrong.
Don't clip that, y'all. Don't come after Joe. I'm gonna clip that stuff now just for shits and giggles. But no, yeah, innocent until proven guilty, Joe. We're gonna get slammed somewhere if we don't say it like that. We're gonna be all over
she is.
We're gonna be the topic of the news in a minute.
You know what though? I thought that about Richard Allen too when he was first arrested. I thought, good, they got the bad guy.
Yep.
And then I started watching Defense Diaries and Bob and Allie, and I was like, wait a minute, maybe I got this wrong.
But basing it off what we saw in court documents, though, right?
Right. Exactly. Yes.
Yep, that's how I learned about all the things too. Because I'm like you, thank God they got the guy finally. But wait, what? Yeah.
Wait, what? And
yeah. What? Who?
Maybe that's the case here. Maybe it's a wait, what? But either way,
yeah, I'd like to see some evidence or why the what the police have, right? So I need to look for some documents in that case, like charging document, do we have a probable cause affidavit? What are we doing here? I'd like to look at that a little more. Oh, Happy Day. I do have a YouTube channel, Happy Day.
Hold on. No, you're not doing that. I'm doing that.
They aren't available yet, Salty. Is it? Rachel says it's bizarre. It's just bizarre.
It is. We're going to keep watching that. We're going to keep watching the article too, but I just had to pause just for a second just to like talk about, okay. Yeah. There we go. You got a channel.
Oh, thank you. I do have a channel. It's a little channel. But we're like the little engine that could.
4 hours. That, you know, chilling is kind of a word. It can be cliche in these moments, but I mean, the one with the emoji.
Yes.
Walk us through that post, and now in hindsight looking at it, just what your reaction is.
That is the most chilling, and like you said, that feels like a cliche word. I don't know an appropriate word outside of chilling, disturbing, haunting. Someone asked what the mode of this crime was, what weapon was used. Sarah Grace Patrick responded with an emoji of a gun. In the moment, when she first left that on June 6th or 7th, I knew that, of course, she knew what was used, but now with this charge, that is very strange to look back on.
And then the other one that may, to even top that in some ways, is the question of whether or not whoever did it at the time when she's posting about this, whether they knew James and Kristin Brock and what she said on your account. What to see it now with her saying like, well, it must have been, paraphrasing, must have been someone that knew them.
Yes.
Even that is, you just are realizing you're looking at the words of someone who's accused of murder is just, it's haunting.
Yes, and she went further to say, not only was it someone that knew the victims, she said it was someone that knew the house.
Right.
And I keep saying how disturbing all of these were. I have provided them to law enforcement. As soon as I heard about this arrest, I knew that needs to be my first call. It felt like a very strange call to make, to say, hello, I do TikTok. You may want this stuff, but I'm glad that I did.
When she emailed you her version of events, what stood out to you? What was the narrative that she was telling about what happened?
So I won't be too detailed on that, and I apologize. I just want to make sure everything I've provided to the police, I don't speak too detailed about, but I will say when I received that, I read it to my husband, me still thinking this is a teenager that is heartbroken. She wants coverage. I read it to my husband and he said, she did it. And I said, what do you mean? How could you say that? That is, you're so heartless. How could you say that? So when the arrest was made, I had to tell him for the millionth time in our marriage, you were right.
I love that comment.
I'd like to know what she said to this woman to make her husband go out of that, because I probably would have been the same way. Like, look, dude, give it up.
Yep.
You're being snookered. You about to be taken advantage of and be made a fool on the TikTok.
And men don't get to say that very often in a marriage. Just saying, we don't get to say, yeah, I was right.
That shouldn't be. Well, I guess I don't. Y'all know I don't do that relationship shit for that reason like that.
She's got pictures of her and her husband up there to the top right.
Oh, yeah. Well,
that's cute. Look at that.
Okay,
that's
I'm not putting my life on display like that, but go ahead, honey. Look, she even got the balance scales back there holding some fruit.
Red grapes on the right, green grapes on the left.
Guilty. Which way would she tip?
I read it to my husband and he said, she did it. And I said, what do you mean? How could you say that? That is, you're so heartless. How could you say that? So when the arrest was made, I had to tell him for the millionth time in our marriage, you were right, honey. You were spot on. Looking back, there are things that I guess should have been red flags for me, the way she was describing it, some of the descriptive words that she used. But again, in the moment, I just couldn't help
but then again, you're supposed to be a true crimer and you didn't pick up on it.
Coverage. So why would I believe she did it? Why would someone who did that?
Oh.
Was that her TikTok channel though? Was it like a true crime TikTok channel?
Well, why else would the girl reach out to her, I guess?
Oh, yeah. You know what? That's true.
I had to go to the bathroom, so I missed where she came from, but I'm assuming she's a TikToker. But
no, she is a TikToker, but
she's a YouTube, she's a true crimer, I guess. So I guess
that's where our head goes naturally though, right? Like when somebody reaches out to us from the blue, and I've had people reach out to me from the blue and be like, hey, can you look into this?
Right, me too. But here's the thing. I'm not a TikTok true crimer, so I don't know how good they are or what kind of questions they ask, but if you cover true crime, you should know when to ask questions and not go like, oh, wow, I just got some Jennifer Coffindaffer type information. Let me run live with it. I'm not even going to vet it. I'm just, because I already know. I know.
I'm not.
Right? Yeah. It got sent to me, therefore it's valid. Damn it, man.
And then you go for a half an hour while you're muted before you unmute.
Right? That's
I think my record is like probably a minute or so that I've gone muted
Look,
before I
I think mine
realized
might
it.
have been a minute, like in the early days, but when I'm sitting there watching somebody blah, 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 and you're like, I'm laughing so hard because everybody in chat is screaming, you're on mute, and they have no idea. And as a YouTuber, I'm thinking, they never glance at their own chat. Do they never glance down at their controls and make sure we're good? Because I do. I don't have a producer sitting here going, hey, it's like little old me sitting here in my room. And yeah, it's up to me to make sure that button's not on mute and make sure my chat's behaving.
Right.
If somebody's not in there wreaking havoc against my community members, hell, that's my show. It's up to me to make sure. That's just the way I see it. Can't do all that on the TikTok. Get out there and throw out a few blurbs and call it a day. Have people throw weird gifts at me. I don't even understand how that stuff works on TikTok, y'all.
Neither. Arizona Mermaid's in the house. Hey there, Easy
Nice.
Mermaid.
I love a good mermaid, being on the Gulf and all. My name is Salty. Used to be Salty Pirate. We probably get along good.
Want us to talk about it. But look, like I said, looking back at that email, those comments, even her original messages where she hinted at, hey, you should really do this video because it will get a lot of views. I should have immediately known that is not right.
Boom. Honey, you should have immediately known. Exactly. The minute somebody comes to you and tells you this will get you a lot of views, what the hell's your ulterior motive here? That's where my brain goes immediately. So can I trust this true crime person?
They might get you some views. I bet she's going to get some more views after this.
Shit, they done got it figured out, guys. We can talk about whatever we want. It's going to get us clicks and views.
What did she say about that?
Well, that was in her messages to me when she was first asking me to do the video. She said it will get a lot of hits. I just Googled it, and the only person who has covered it so far comes up right at the top. So I told myself, maybe that's a teenager thing in 2025. My teenage years are pretty far behind me, so maybe they always think of views even when they're distraught. But again, it was one of those things that I should have read and said, whoa, this is suspicious. But naivety.
Everything's like hindsight 2020 because, people who will pitch us stories and, you're trying to sell it to someone who has a
lady. She has she's got Joe. We could not have her on the team. Like, girl, you're finna blow the whole case. Get out of here with your bizarre stuff. Your teenage years are far behind you. It looks like mine are further behind me than hers. And trust me, I'd have red flagged that this will get you lots of views immediately. Okay.
Yeah. If you have to say after the fact, I should have noticed that something wasn't right.
Yeah.
You probably should have noticed that something wasn't right.
Yeah, you should have. You're right. Now, can I trust you moving forward in other cases? No, I don't think so. Peace out, sister. I mean, I might give you a chance, but whatever. Nah.
Right. But first send me your DMs when they come to you so I can check them out.
Y'all aren't even good at looking. Y'all need to learn to read them red flags. Jesus. They're not for cutesy pie stories,
You know what? I'm good at noticing red flags. I'm not necessarily good at reacting to red flags.
Oh, I might overreact to a red flag sometimes.
I give people the benefit of the doubt probably more often than they deserve.
Yeah, I can probably agree with that statement. But then again, Joe balances me out because I can be a real hard ass sometimes. I'm like, no. I got trust issues. Come again? And Joe's like, calm down. I'm like, I don't care, Joe. I don't trust it.
Yeah, you have trust issues. I get it.
He knows I do. He knows I do.
Platform, and I could see without knowing what we know now that it's just kind of a teenager thing. One comment I saw from someone on social media that was kind of a red flag was the story about her 5-year-old sister who you just think of her now and you just hope that she, certainly loved by her family who she's with. But the idea that, this happened in a small house in a quiet place where if there's gunshots, you would hear that. And that it was the 5-year-old who finds her mom and dad, James and Kristin, and then has to alert the girl in the house, alert Sarah Grace. That just to me stood out as kind of a suspicious, and it was someone else's comment, but But seeing that now, it just seems like it sticks out that that would have been something for law enforcement that would have been a bit suspicious.
Absolutely. I mean, the no forced entry, I know they said that there was a door unlocked, but the no forced entry, no weapon was in the home. So they were able to pretty quickly rule out murder-suicide. And so where is that? That is, of course, one of the questions. But
wait, what? No weapon? No forced entry and no weapon in the house. Woo, I got questions about this one. I got questions.
Her being 16 at the time of this crime and supposedly not hearing those gunshots, and James Brock had a heart monitor. I believe it is called an IVAD. If I have that wrong, correct me. But that machine, to my understanding, would have been going off very loudly once his heart was no longer beating. So not only did the 16-year-old allegedly not hear gunshots, she allegedly didn't hear this heart monitor. No forced entry. Just so many things don't make sense. Now, of course, I keep repeating and will that she's innocent until proven guilty, but a lot of things that make you scratch your head looking at it all now.
Definitely, and we haven't heard her side of it. We know that the public relations, public information person for Carroll County had said it was a mountain of evidence, but then in the news conference, she wouldn't go deep into specifically what it was. They did confirm to us that was her TikTok, because when we saw it for the first time, I mean, it was like, I was just, I don't get shocked often, but in looking at just everything we've learned since, it was like,
So does anybody else see like a stark contrast between her beautiful TikTok video and her booking photo? Like, I mean, she's still, an attractive young female, but they're just like completely different. Like, boom, boom, there we go. Like, this is not the same person in her booking photo, right? Like, so TikTok and cell phones can make you completely different people, because this is not the same person in her booking photo. This is not the same person. I'm sorry, but it's not the same person. Is it the same person? Yeah, but it's not the same person. So I'm going to play that through again, but this is not the same person in her booking photo. And that's the magic of cell phones and TikTok and videos, and what I went back to at the very beginning of this, which is StreamYard can touch up my appearance, and they can do it at 25 or 50 or 75 or 100% levels. And I'm not telling you what I'm at right now. You have to guess what percentage I'm at right now for touch up my appearance.
What it was, they did confirm to us that was her TikTok, because when we saw it for the first time, I mean, it was like, I was just, I don't get shocked often, but in looking at just everything we've learned since, it was like, we need confirmation that this is actually her. Yes. Did anything stand out to you? And I know in hindsight we can sit and say, everything stands out as a red flag, but just the fact, the way she was commenting on those posts, like I think of even using, if your parents are murdered, to use an emoji, even in a reply, was just like, that is a red flag to me now, knowing what we know.
Agreed. And then her comments, the amount, it's like she was finding every video that talked about this case and replying to so many comments. Would most people be that active on social media at a time like this? And then her post which her account is gone now, but her post where she would end the caption with, probably should delete later. Some of those were very strange to try to understand after this arrest. Some of her reposts that people found were also, I think, a lot of us are trying to analyze those reposts. Sometimes you can analyze things too much at a time like this, but she certainly left a digital footprint for us to all explore. And a lot of people wonder if, her messages to people like me, which I am not the only one, don't ever want to make it seem like I think I'm the only person she contacted, but was that a way, if she winds up being the person that did this, did she want to hear about this over and over? Was it a form of duper's delight? Or did she have a guilty conscience? And this was some way that she was ridding herself of some of that guilt. I just have so many questions.
I do too. And it's, how much will we learn, as the case, but we often don't in stories like this. I feel like get a digital footprint, like what we have. For those of us on the outside from law enforcement, you have a lot of followers on TikTok, I think more than 130,000 from what we saw. What has their reaction been? And what has the conversation been like on your account since the story broke?
I think the most popular comment would be, what?
The fact that this is the question that is asked of this social media person should be the most relevant to all of us. He says, what is the most asked question on your social media account? That's what this is about. That's entirely what this is about.
those of us on the outside from law enforcement, you have a lot of followers on TikTok. I think more than 130,000 from what we saw.
You have a lot of followers on TikTok is part of this news story. You have a lot of followers on TikTok is his question.
From law enforcement, you have a lot of followers on TikTok. I think more than 130,000 from what we saw. What has their reaction been, and what has the conversation been like on your account since this?
What is the reaction of your followers on TikTok? What does that have to do with anything? Who gives a rip what the followers? You're fine.
Oh, sorry, Joe. Sorry. Okay.
Who gives a crap what the reaction of her TikTok followers is?
Well, that's that whole TikTok thing. In the Idaho 4 case, we had some TikTokers cause a lot of problems. And YouTube found those TikTokers and brought them on. And one of them leaked a whole bunch of stuff over to Bloom, however you want to say his name, ended up in that book he's got on the Idaho 4. Now, the Blake Lively's, the Brett Nortons, that's all these people care about on TikTok. This is why I pretty much abandoned my true crime TikTok. It became very obvious to me. I'm much older than most of the people on that platform. I'm way older than a lot of these TikTokers. They didn't seem to be true crime people. They found the platform on TikTok. They saw it was profitable. They saw they could get all these hundreds of thousands of followers as if they are investigative reporters and they know stuff. People you would be surprised at some of the comments I would get on my TikToks that I just never even addressed. Some were very cool and talked about the cases and things like that. Some were just bizarre. But that's what it's all about on TikTok to me. It's just about clicks and views and followers and things. But when I just didn't see any real true crime going on over there. It's more of like an Instagram thing. You know what I mean? These kids are living large on the Instagram, posting their fake lives. Like you pointed out a second ago, the difference in this girl's look, you can absolutely bet she was buying all she could from the TikTok shop to begin with. She was doing all the makeup tutorials, all the things that these young girls are exposed to on TikTok. She was doing all of it. Now, how do I get famous on TikTok? Now, I don't know if this little girl's innocent or guilty till I read some documents and see some evidence. But what was her angle? Is she innocent and she's using this now to try to get herself famous, or is she guilty and a psychopath and also using it to get herself famous? It's weird. It's just a phenomenon. I think that a lot of these kids, they do look up to these TikTokers. We found out Kaylee Gonzalez followed true crime on TikTok. The girl she was following was Olivia. Olivia is now dating Kaylee Gonzalez's brother. There's nothing wrong with that. The family reached out to her. Okay, so the family reached out to Olivia and said, Kaylee followed your true crime TikTok account and she loved it. Olivia began to cover the Idaho 4 case. She got a little bit close to the family because they did reach out. They knew who she was. She wasn't really a problem in the case. It was other TikTokers that were. And a lot of behind the scenes stuff people don't know about that was going on, including bringing out fake people that were never real in the Idaho 4 case, but living large on TikTok as if they were there and witnessed things that never happened. That all went down on TikTok. So Olivia is from the Chronicles of Olivia TikTok account. And so all this time, she's been out there with JLR and Bullhorn Betty back in, I think, the Gabby Petito stuff. I don't know. Some of the Idaho 4 stuff in the early days. Then she kind of backed off and just kind of faded away a little bit. Then it comes out later, recently, she's been there all along, but she's now dating Kaylee Gonzalez's brother. And in the latest documentaries, not the Amazon one, but the other one that came out right before that, you see the two of them in there talking. So it's Kaylee's brother talking about his experience, and the girl standing beside him is Olivia from Chronicles of Olivia, and she is in a relationship with Kaylee's brother. But a lot of these TikTokers only do it because they fell into it. It brings me clicks and views and money, and because they're making money. And they do those little weird lives and people throw roses and funky hats and I don't know what all they do over there. And like I said, TikTok was constantly hitting me up. You need to go live. You need to go live. Do this. I'm like, that's weird. I don't even know how to do that. I'm trying to figure out YouTube. But yeah, that's what it's about. And they bring them on as if they know stuff, and they don't know anything but rumors and what's being said in their comments section. Huh. Are you on mute, Joe?
The real world. Yeah, I got it. For once. It only took me 10 seconds this time. The real world is intersecting with social media world, and it's blowing my mind. It's just, and I know I'm late to the party. I know I'm late to the game. I know this isn't the first time that anybody's made this observation.
Yeah.
It still blows my mind. It still blows my mind that a TikToker is dating the sibling of one of the Idaho 4 victims. Like, that blows my mind.
Right. Well, like Hazel just commented, JLR is in the One Night in Idaho on Prime, and it's not in a good way, and it's not, because we all knew JLR was there, and we knew he was running around town trying to get interviews, and they talk about that, being stalked by the JLRs of the world, you know. But some of these true crimers go above some go above and beyond and do good jobs. Some go and cross a line in the name of, I got to get a story out there, whether it's true or not, whether it's this or that, whatever their aim might be. So that's why I'm always saying to my community, be careful out there on them YouTube streets. And trust me, if I go into a new case, Delphi, for instance, wasn't new. I mean, I followed it from the time the girls disappeared. But when an arrest was made and people began doing shows, I don't know none of these true crimers telling me about Delphi. I'm not going to take any of their word for it. But like Joe mentioned, when you went to Bob Mata's channel, you read the documents. That's what got me and Joe both thinking, wow, we got a real problem here. Not what I took in what I was seeing in these YouTube channels, but I had to fill out the creator. I had to fill out the information I was hearing and then determine which ones I felt like were giving me a good presentation versus somebody who didn't even read a document, right? If I went to a channel and they're like, oh, he's 100% the guy, there's no problems. I'm like, yeah, did you read the documents?
And that's where Bob's channel took me, and where the place I want to be is, I don't know, and I still to this day don't know if Richard Allen is factually innocent or factually guilty of being involved with that. I do know, based on the facts that I know, that if he was involved, he didn't do it alone. There's no way he did it alone.
There's too many unanswered questions, right?
No, there's no way he got those 2 girls across that creek that day. There's no way he got those 2 girls across the creek that day by himself, by wading across the Deer Creek. There's no way. I'm sorry, but not sorry.
See, All Eyes has entered the building. If you talk about deep dive on Rick Allen and the amazing work this girl does in keeping up with documents, and your go-to one-stop shop for documents and all of that, you can't get any better than her. She's like the sweetheart of the YouTube.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
And
so
that's, but I still have to maintain my integrity by saying I don't know if he's factually innocent or factually guilty, because I haven't seen the evidence either way.
Yeah, and when I was still doing TikTok, I was one of the only TikTokers that would even post Richard Allen or Delphi. And mine was all showing the truth about what's happening in that case. And I always got tons of likes and views on it and comments. But I was literally one of the only, they're all wrapped up in Idaho 4 and whatever, and they could never get away from it. But if I would post anything on Delphi, people were all over it. And I noticed I was really one of the only ones out there on TikTok covering that case. And all I was doing was putting out legit facts on the case, right? But you don't run into that everywhere with a lot of places. So that's why I always say, watch the person a couple of times that you're watching, get a feel for how they covered other cases as well. Because if you tell me all day long, oh, there's major issues in Delphi, major issues in Reed, and if you can't see the ones in Idaho, you're blind. Read the documents. Again, I see the problems in Delphi and Karen Reed, but they're not in Idaho. So are you really sure you evaluate each case by case?
Yeah.
Or are you just on this, oh, there's always going to be a problem bandwagon? I got
Bryan Kohberger's confession and admission is not Richard Allen's confession or confessions at all. They are no way relatable. So don't come at me with that.
No, the ones that are out there now saying, well, he had no choice but to take a plea deal. He knows the state's going to railroad him. They don't have the... So his attorneys are going to let that happen if they know the truth? No. Because then I'm going to go after his attorneys. What the hell are you doing? You scared of your state representative or something? The governor? Who's got you chicken shit? FBI and their little alternate investigations everybody's talking about no. The guy said I did it. I don't know why people have a hard time with that one. It's not so far different than Rick Allen's confessions.
Yeah, Lowlight's point is well made. There might have been some... Go ahead.
You know what that constitutional issue was? The only one? IGG.
That's where I was going. I was waiting to see if you wanted me to guess. Yeah.
Only one.
Yep.
There's no guessing about it. Rick Allen, Kohberger, arrested a month apart. Don't get me started. One sent to a prison, never to be seen again, barely, in orange, dirty, and shackled. The other one sent to a county jail, gets to wear a suit and tie to every hearing, gets to wear no handcuffs, and he's perfect, good to go. Tell me where his rights were violated any step of the way, except for the FBI going through the back door like they've done a million times, doing IGG. The same IGG everybody wished had been done in Delphi. There's your constitutional problem. But the FBI says, hey, we can do what the hell we want, so I'm not fighting them.
You know what? I'll one up you. There's your nexus, Mr. Nick McClelland. Your nexus is there was no fucking DNA on the scene.
Preach it, brother. I got him cussing now. My fucking
you did. Oh my gosh!
Mission accomplished.
Oh man, you got me to drop the F-bomb.
I knew Delphi would do it.
Oh.
I can't bring up Holman.
Lordy, lordy, have mercy. There's multiple F-bombs for that interview. Oh, all right. We're going to go back to this case in Carroll County, Georgia, not Indiana. Georgia. The lights went out in Georgia.
Not that don't trust your soul to no backwoods Southern lawyer. The judge in the town's
I think the most popular comment would be, what? Because as soon as I heard about the arrest, I, posted that video where you can, I think, tell I'm in shock. Why would you ask me to cover this? And it just immediately took off because it is so shocking. It is so, it feels like something out of a movie or a book. So the large amount of response has just been more shock, more questions. Of course, a lot of people asking me, well, what was the evidence? What is the motive? And I just keep repeating, the police did not tell me personally what evidence they had. They told us at the press conference there is a mountain of evidence. And as far as motive, I keep comparing it to the Bryan Kohberger case. We've been waiting years and years to find out the why, although there is no good enough why in any of these cases. But now, years later, he is pleading guilty. We probably will never hear that motive. So as soon as someone is arrested, that's not typically the time we find out those answers. So there's been a lot of shock, a lot of questions, and now we just have to do a a hurry up and wait and see.
Yeah, I was going to ask if there was anything that, a similarity for a case that feels so unique.
Bryan Kohberger content.
Oh, I bet you're right. Yeah, I bet you're right. I'm not going down that rabbit hole, not today.
Maybe I should go back to posting on my TikTok and show these girls what's up. I'm teasing. I'm not being ugly to the TikTok.
The comparison to kind of waiting for motive is a good one. Is there anything, have you ever had something like this where someone who's, because we both cover true crime and we cover some really scary people and scary stories. Have you ever had direct communication with someone who was arrested like this before?
I have never had communication before an arrest like this. I have received communications from people that I have covered. I did not respond because they were quite hostile, not happy that I had covered them. But the only other, and this isn't, someone contacted me on TikTok after the crime, but I actually started doing TikToks because I knew a guy as a teenager that wound up being arrested for a cold case murder in our town. And there were 2 missing women, last known to be with him. So I was contacting true crime creators saying, will you cover this? Will you cover this? We have to.
So she created her TikTok account to be a true crime / missing person TikTok account.
Mm-hmm.
How did she miss the red flags from when she was contacted by this person?
Because she's only good at getting up and talking smack. I don't know. She saw everybody else was having some success with this true crime stuff. So, hey, let me go do it. I can talk. Kind of like me.
Oh.
I guess. I'm telling you, I've seen a lot of these true crime TikTokers stuff and how they used to DM me when I was on the TikTok. Look what I just found out. Look at my latest. What you just sent me is weird. And the video of this Idaho 4 murder in progress is so blurry. I don't even know what I'm looking at, but you're sending me a video telling me is the actual crime in progress. Right. Taken with a GoPro stick on top of that. That's what TikTok was about in Idaho 4. And this honey had the nerve to mention those poor 4 victims' case in the middle of this messed up little girl's case. Looking for some clicks and views there? I'm not coming to see your TikTok account on Bryan Kohberger. You're going to bring out some more bad and misinformation on the guy. I might not care for the guy, but I'm not going to bring you misinformation about the guy. Just stay tuned till Monday.
Exactly. You and I are like that. Like every single defendant deserves the same rights. And when you violate those rights, no matter how guilty or not guilty they may be, whether it's Lori Daybell or Bryan Kohberger or Richard Allen or Karen Reed, they all deserve the same rights. And if you don't observe those rights, you put the case at risk of them not being found guilty.
Yep. You risk the entire case and put it in jeopardy because you want to come out here and play. I don't think so. I'm going to hold you accountable for that because you could have just derailed the entire case. Right. And what do you mean you got the wrong guy? You might have the right guy. That's not going to work either. We can't go around with mites, Chandler
PD almost screwed up the investigation into Charles Vallow's death because they didn't take DNA. They did not take a single swab of DNA from that crime scene. Single swab of DNA. Are you freaking kidding me?
They made missteps in that investigation from the get-go. Even when Charles first reached out, hey, my wife is wacko Jesus freak. Nobody wanted to pay attention to that Jesus freak part. But I'm telling you, in her last interview, she double, triple downed on that Jesus freak aspect, and I'm all over it.
Yep. I'm going to go over that tomorrow with Jack Fox. He he's got some clips. He's got some clips from that interview that he wants to review and talk about her words. So we're going to watch that tomorrow.
That I'm going to have to watch because I have analyzed the heck out of that video because that was my jams. I'm like, oh, Lori, unedited Lori. That's what I've been waiting on. An unedited, unfiltered Lori. And she said exactly what I thought she would say. So I'm curious to see his take compared to my own.
I guarantee you he's got some interesting takes.
Obviously, compared to what I've got to say, what I'm thinking.
Yep.
So
you'll have more. So maybe you and I will need to do like a double down on it after that.
Dude. I sit in a space with Lori Vallow where I'm looking at her from a clinical view versus that horrible defendant that did all this, because she did do all that and she's convicted, and I'm happy with all that. Now I'm looking at her through a clinical lens, which is something I've been doing for a long time, but now I can really focus on that. And that interview, I know a lot of people didn't like it. They're like, she needs to go sit down, shut up now, and let her talk. Let me listen.
Yeah, right.
Let her talk and let me listen. And then, I haven't talked about it yet, but I'll be down for something like that.
All righty.
find these missing women, and no one ever replied. So I said, well, I'll just do it myself. And that was in late 2022, and I've been doing it ever since. So I've had different varieties of, I knew a guy that wound up going to prison for life for murder. Now I've had a girl in my inbox who has been arrested for 2 counts of murder. So I don't know what happened in the universe that I keep getting tied up with people that wind up being charged with this, but maybe this will be the last time, and I will just cover stories and not be involved in them.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, and I remember your post, I think it was
That is such a weird way to look at this, but I can't unassociate myself with the way that she's looking at this, because I've also got a couple of cases, and I've also got stuff in my inbox from people who are associated with those cases, and like, I don't know how to explain it, and I honestly don't even know how to deal with it.
She don't either, apparently.
No. No. But finding justice for the victims is what I'm about. So I'm okay with having to struggle to deal with those relationships.
Well, you gotta. Well, if your family is one thing, and then especially if there's like a crime and you're talking to a family, but even talking to families sometimes can muddy waters. But you just have to get smart at feeling these DMs and messages out. You know, I had an entire alternate scenario DM'd me in Twitter 2 years ago on the Kohberger case. They were hoping I would run with it. Never did. I vetted it, sat with it, looked at some things. Nah, I'm not touching that shit with a 10-foot pole. There's been a lot of other things presented to me that I just have to look at myself. I have to take the time to look at it, whether it's there or not. You know, sometimes there's something there, sometimes there's not. But that's the mindset you have to have. If you're just on the surface level being a true crimer, that stuff's going to go right over your head. And you're not going to even understand what's happening. I was, duped. Don't be naive. You can't be naive and be in this space.
No, if you have stuff sitting in our inbox that's relevant to the case, then you should know more than just it's sitting in your inbox and you should do something with it. You should know what the hell to do with it.
Exactly. If you don't know, you need to step away from the mic.
Yep.
I don't know.
Put it down. Put the inbox down and walk away.
Step away slowly. It'd be okay. Sometimes I have to do the same thing. I'm like, just back away. It's okay, girl.
Cover stories and not be involved in them.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, and I remember your post, I think it was the first one that showed up for me, of just like, why would you reach out to someone? And I guess that kind of speaks to motive, but what was your thought of how you were going to cover this story now, and what your first post was going to be when you saw that she was the one? Because I will say, like, in watching the news conference, and I was like, who is going to be, who did they arrest for this? And then when they said her name, it was just this jaw-dropping moment. And then for you to connect the dots and being like, oh my gosh, this is the person I was talking to before. I mean, what went into deciding how you were going to cover this going forward?
To be honest, I was so shocked. I don't think there was too much planning or strategizing. It was just, this is shocking. I have to.
Girl. I don't think there was too much planning or strategizing is not the right approach. I'm sorry, but this fell in your lap. Girl, this fell in your lap, and this is how you deal with it. I don't think there was too much planning or strategizing.
She a true crime expert, Joe. We can learn a thing or two.
I would, honest to God, I would stay awake for 48 hours straight, planning and strategizing how to respond to that and how to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
But 48 hours at least straight, maybe 72, like just thinking about how to deal with this thing that fell in her lap. It would keep me awake for nights. I'll just say that. It would keep me awake for nights. It did not keep her awake for nights, apparently.
Yeah.
There was not too much planning or strategizing that went on.
No, there's not a whole lot that goes on there. But
oh, Lordy.
Let me run live with this weird screen and point at this and point at that. I'm like, what the hell's happening here?
For making that video, because that felt like the true first step I should take. But then I knew I've got to talk about this. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to process this. So I'm going to take it to TikTok. This is outrageous.
Okay. all of that was reasonable up until I've got to take this to TikTok. No, you don't.
Yes, you
No,
do.
you don't. You don't have to take this to TikTok. You
don't have to do anything, honey, but you go ahead, you run. She
Right, yeah.
knows I'm about to get me some clicks and views. All I got to do, it's like, that's garbage to me. I mean, was TikTok going to find out the real killer, the real story, like they did in Idaho 4? Because we're still waiting on that one. Because that was the first place to tell the world, other than, well, actually, it is the first place to come out with Bryan Kohberger's innocent was from TikTokers. And then YouTubers are like, well, hell, they're this working on the TikTok. Let me go do the same thing. Boom, here we are. Man confesses or admits guilt. Let me put it that way, and they're still in denial.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, where'd that get you, TikTokers? Where'd that get you? Where did
You
that
wouldn't
get
believe
you?
them. Yeah, I would don't have. If you don't know, you don't know. But you wouldn't believe the level TikTok went to with the Idaho 4 case. There's literally fake people living large on TikTok right now. That came in and claimed they were a witness to things that happened the morning of the Idaho 4 case. She lived across the street. She wakes up at 8 o'clock in the morning. She goes outside to smoke a cigarette. She sees in the backyard of King Road Dylan talking to Emma and Demetrius, and they were smoking weed like nothing was wrong, with all the victims laying in the house chilling, deceased, because hell, they did it. They're in the backyard getting high now. Dot was fake. A fake person created with some TikTokers and platformed all over TikTok, and then she made her way to the YouTubes. And that was not the only story out there. So I don't trust the TikTokers at all. And then they go and talk to a family and have an entire thread of messages that they then turn over to a guy writing a book. How much was you paid for that, brat? How much did Bloom pay you to turn over all those text messages that were leaked, I should say, because I have them all. I know everything Steve Gonzalez was saying to Brat Norton, and she sold all of it to a guy writing a book. That's your TikTok world. YouTube ain't far off from it, though.
No, not yet.
And you're just seeing the story continue to spread, and it's just like one development after another. When thinking about this digital footprint, that's been left behind. We'll see how the court case plays out. The TikTok creator behind allegedly, reportedly, that is the handle on social media. Give her a follow. Great work. And thank you for joining us on Long Crime. We appreciate it.
Give her a follow. Long Crime just like boosted her account.
Give her a follow. Look how good she is.
Right?
Thank you so much.
Sarah Grace Patrick is being held without bond. And another part of the story that we're following and is so important.
All right. We do have a couple of other things that we can talk about too. There's a case in Howard County, Indiana, which is Kokomo. That's about 45 minutes east of Lafayette. And it's kind of an interesting case to take a quick look at. Let me find you. No, we don't want that. We don't want that. I don't have that on 2 pages. Give me a second. 1 second. 1, 10, 20, 30.
I'll count down. We're only getting not a second more.
I'm trying to figure out what is the best one to open with, because there's 2 stories about the same case out of Howard County.
My cat's name is Karen. Says, I can't believe the creators I'm seeing mainstream media do interviews with, right? Because there's some that deserve it, right? That do really good coverage and do deserve to go on and have conversations. But mainstream media understands the impact of social media now and the reach they have on the people. The question is what content are the people consuming, right? And we can't go out and rectify all the problems in the communities, but if you try to bring the facts and the truth and still be able to talk about the theories and possibilities, you can do that as long as you're also bringing the facts and the truth.
Yeah, and I think that's the issue. So remember when they first started passing laws about smoking in public buildings and restaurants,
Yes, I do.
and within 8 feet of public doors, right?
Mm-hmm.
And do you know why they did that? Because people would sit outside of a door of a public building and smoke a cigarette and make everybody who walked past them breathe their cigarette smoke. So that's kind of the social media, in my mind, the social media interpretation of it doesn't take much for one person to ruin it for everybody. Like if you would just have the courtesy to step away from that door and smoke your cigarette like 10 or 15 feet away from the door, then they wouldn't have to pass a law that says nobody can stand within 8 feet of that door and smoke their cigarette.
Well,
So
because there's always going to be people that don't think about other people. Okay, so as a smoker at the time when all that was passed, I was already not standing on top of people smoking cigarettes.
Right, because you had respect for other people, right?
Exactly. And if people didn't, nobody wants to be around that if they don't. That's rude to me to stand there and smoke on top of people who don't smoke. But not everybody's going to think that way. They don't got a freaking brain cell. They are not even thinking about in the moment, but just their cells and that need right there. To hell with everybody else. But yeah, it's just some people don't have that.
Right. So relate that to social media. Some people just don't have the common sense and the courtesy to be respectful and put out facts on social media instead of just putting out your hot opinion.
Well, when you learn that's what happened with Idaho 4, right? People latched onto this innocence theory. I don't know why they latched on so quickly. I get why they started going down that road, right? I get the questions of the case. I totally get them. I had the same questions. But when people continued, this guy can't be the one, it was drawing huge crowds. And if you listen to Steve from Publicly Buzzed talk about that experience, because I was there for all of it, so was he. The more bizarre the rabbit hole, the theories, the stories, the rumors, the people you would platform to talk about it in a negative way, Kohberger couldn't have done it, the more clicks and views you got. There are a lot of creators out there right now who absolutely built their backs on the back of the Idaho 4 case, and they know it. So now what are they going to do that case is over? I don't know. It's not for me to figure out. But I don't know why people latch onto those concepts early on other than for clicks and views. And then once you roll with it, you got to keep rolling with it. And now the ones who did it in Kohberger's case, Publicly Buzz is the only one to come out and say, hey, wait, brakes on. We're hearing some bizarre stuff here. None of this is panning out. None of it makes sense. This is all rumor. I can't, he said, I'm not doing this anymore. And he stopped, right? And it did affect his channel. Others continued and continued and continued, and they won't even admit it. They just kind of gradually changed into he's the guy without being so noticeable. Others doubled down and stuck there, and they couldn't get out. I don't know how to tell them to fix all that, but there, I'm not going to look at every case coming out of the gate like there's going to be major issues and this guy didn't do it. We got to wait and evaluate stuff like we did with Delphi. Like we did in the Karen Reed case. You and I kind of just knew this and that, but we saw it all during trial and evaluated it through that lens. Same way with this case. I don't know why people, if they're driven by just the clicks and views, Joe, for the numbers, the recognition, no matter how I get there, and then some don't see it that way. They want to come with the truth and the facts, and if people come, they come. If they don't, they don't. That's where I view it from. I came for true crime, not drama. Drama happens in a case. It's not my fault. I don't create true crime. People do that all day. I just cover it, right? And it's fun to have a community to cover it with that are really wanting to evaluate what we see and discuss it versus, I don't know. You know what I mean? It's hard to figure out why people are doing what they're doing out here. I don't know. I don't have the answer, but I've seen it for a long, long time.
Yeah, I think Kathy brings a really good, relevant point at this point in time in our discussion, because you and I could take that viewpoint and we could run with it.
In so many ways, with receipts.
We could, right?
With receipts on that one. And it goes back to the Karen Reed and Judge Canoni, this and that. We're all like, y'all didn't know Judge Gold, did you? Right, Kathy Davis? They didn't know Judge Gold, did they? Canoni's just like her little baby sister that tried.
Yep, exactly. And I was in court. I was in court when the lady that was there watching trial with me, sitting right next to me, stood up. and she goes, "Judge, we can't hear the witnesses. You need to have them talk into the microphone." And I was like, "Oh my God, lady, no, don't talk to Judge Gold that way." But she did. And you know what? The witnesses started talking into the microphone better after that. And Judge Gold actually directed them to talk into the microphone after that. So sometimes it takes us standing up and being uncomfortable to make a change. And that was just a little minor change, but it was a change. And forever after that, I will always regret tugging on her belt loop and saying, "Lady, don't stand up and talk to Judge Gold that way."
Right. Hey, let them mess around and find out on their own, Joe.
Right. Yeah. No, but they did. Yeah.
I know, but yeah.
What's the worst thing that's going to happen? I was afraid that the Judge Gold was going to look at her and be like, "You and that guy sitting on your left are out of here."
Right. Joe's like, "Don't get me guilt by association because I'm sitting next to you. Calm down." Get us all in trouble. This is Judge Gold.
Oh, gosh. All right. So the story out of Howard County is an interesting one.
I was trying to figure out why you didn't like sitting on your porch, Kathy. It made her sick. And I didn't know why. I didn't see the comment. And then Ruby's replying, "There's gummies. I don't understand why they have to smoke it. Are people skunking out the neighborhood, hun?" Yeah, that's where them gummies come in handy for sure. I know.
Yeah, you don't have to smoke gummies. You can just like ingest those naturally.
Yeah, she's go sit outside and get that contact.
There's no contact high from gummies, at least not that I know of.
No, but she's got the real deal going on out there. Go sit outside and take some deep breaths. It sucked not to be able to sit on your own porch. Because I spend a lot. Look, I wake up in the mornings. I pretend in my head I'm sitting on the dock of the bay,
waiting for the tide to roll in.
Yeah, I'm sitting in the morning sun, and I'll be sitting when the evening comes. That's literally my life. I start my day outside in the sunshine, and I end it out there in the same way. But I don't have no gungy smells out there. Unless I do it. No, I'm just... Gummies are better. They're easier. Hell, no mess. Just pop that baby in and chew.
Let's see. This is an interesting story.
And by the way, I'm in Florida. I have medical, so y'all don't come at me.
Right?
It's legit.
It is.
But first, the mother of a man murdered in Kokomo nearly 20 years ago is furious with the judicial system. Thanks for sticking with us at 4:30. I'm Aaliyah Blackburn.
And I'm Rafael Sanchez. The two people who were charged in her son's murder both had their cases dismissed due to staffing issues at the prosecutor's office.
And his
Did you hear that? I think my volume is a little low. It's as loud as it'll go. But there was a cold case. This is a murder that happened in Howard County, Indiana. That's Kokomo. That's about 45 minutes east of Lafayette in 2006.
Mhm.
And it was recently solved. This cold case was solved.
I saw the headline on this, but I didn't look at the story yet.
Yeah, so this is a story about the prosecutors dismissing the charges for staffing issues.
59's Max Lewis explains she worries if she'll ever get justice.
I was pissed off, very pissed off, and very sick at my stomach. I haven't been sleeping or anything.
Athena Rouse couldn't believe it when she heard the news. She's waited nearly 2 decades to get justice for her son Chad, and now she has to wait longer.
It has taken 17 years to get to this point, and now we're back to step one. It's just done. I mean, it's like rehashing the whole thing all over again.
On November 16th, 2006, Kokomo police found Chad shot to death inside his apartment in what investigators believed was a botched robbery. It wasn't until May of 2023 that 48-year-old Kevin Maddox was charged with the murder and robbery. His alleged accomplice, 36-year-old Amber Brigham, accused of aiding in that robbery. Maddox's murder trial was supposed to begin here yesterday at the Howard County Courthouse, but due in part to what the judge called a staffing crisis at the prosecutor's office, both cases were dismissed, and Maddox and Brigham were set free.
Did you hear that?
It's crazy.
When I heard this, I was upset. I'm not going to lie. This is 45 minutes east of me.
Both cases were dismissed, and Maddox and Brigham were set free. The prosecutor's office also citing the fact that they've had several back-to-back major jury trials and are unable to prepare for them. Prosecutor Mark McCann told us over the phone that he's asked for additional funding from the county.
Did you see that picture of the prosecutor? Like, just think Nick McClelland. Look at that picture.
No, I don't know. Get that dude off there. He's evil.
Where did they come up with this picture? Is that his LinkedIn picture?
That's his Glamour Shots portfolio picture from back in the 1980s. Was he alive back then? I don't know. But yeah, what the hell, dude?
Told us over the
I'm
phone
not following
he's
this
asked
story.
For additional funding from the county.
We're going to follow it now.
I mean,
but for Athena and Chad's family, no excuse will be good enough.
My daughter and my granddaughter has suffered enough, and they need justice. And they've suffered so long. All of us have.
It's very unacceptable. That's not my fault that they're short-staffed. And it's not my son's fault.
What message does this send to victims and their families?
Come to Kokomo and kill someone because you can get by with it.
In Kokomo, Max Lewis, Fox 59 News.
So Max Lewis, huh?
There's an update to this. Don't go too far off the crazy train, because there is an update to this that we need to talk about. And the thing that I'm upset about is the way that they presented it. Dang it. Let me find. It's going to take. Oh, here we go. All right. This is it. The way they presented it was there was a staffing shortage, and so they had to dismiss the charges against murderers, right? That's what you just heard, right? This puts a new light into it. Howard County prosecutors have refiled murder charges against a man accused of killing Chad Rouse in 2006. Prosecutors refiled the charges against Kevin Maddox last week. On May 30th, a judge issued an arrest warrant with a bond set at $300,000. As of June 2nd, the warrant remains active and law enforcement continues to search for Maddox. So we got a couple of issues there. First of all, the way they presented it, that said we released them because we had a staffing shortage, is nuts. And then they reissued a warrant for him and he's out loose because they can't find him, and now they have a murder warrant against him, is just.
So they dismiss charges and then recharge?
Yes. Yep.
From pressure?
The original charges were not for murder. So when they refiled the charges, they filed charges of murder with a new warrant. But after they let him go, so now they still have a warrant for him for his arrest for murder, but he's nowhere to be found.
They are like, oh, we dropped charges due to lack of staffing, but oh wait, now we'll go and rearrest him. Why?
Yep.
Did you hire some more people, or did you get pressured? That's what I'm wondering. Or did you get new information? I mean, shit, what's happening here?
McCann said the office has 12 attorneys serving a population of 83,000. That sounds about right. I always say bend but don't break. It's almost at a breakage point. The Indiana Prosecuting Attorneys Council said Howard County should have 23 attorneys, so almost double how many attorneys they actually have to prosecute. So this is a county that's probably somewhat similar to Carroll County, has a little bit bigger population. They had a GM plant that produced automobiles in Kokomo for a long time. So it's a little bit bigger city. It's like probably halfway in between Lafayette and Delphi, like something like that. So, yeah, interesting. During that time, we were getting. Let's see what they have to say about this. Howard County has 4,000 criminal filings a year, and McCann says his full-time deputy prosecutors typically handle 300 criminal cases at a time. Wow. How would you like to have 300 criminal cases in your file right now? And obviously most of them probably are misdemeanors, but you probably got a couple of heavy case loads in there, like maybe murder.
They might be needing to get better at curbing crime. I don't know what to tell them if they got that much. Move if I were y'all.
Don't live in Kokomo, Indiana.
I'm not trying to live in places like that.
Unless you plan on criming, and then maybe Kokomo might be a good place to go.
Right.
So that's that one. That's Kokomo, 45 minutes east of Lafayette. So an hour southeast of Delphi, Indiana, Howard County. All right, let me check chat real quick.
Well, the Florida Department, or the Florida Highway Patrol, just for the third year in a row, everybody, because this is imperative information, for the third year in a row, my state highway patrol has took the top honors in the best looking police cruiser in the country. And they are pretty badass. Sometimes you can't spot them, but yeah, y'all need to know that in true crime. We have the coolest looking cop cars. Apparently.
Goodness gracious. All right. I think I want to go back to Texas for two more stories. And I know it's heavy, but we can make it through this, and we can ask the tough questions, and we can have the tough questions answered at some point in time, right?
Yeah, there's been so many sad stories, so many heroic stories, so many survival stories, and all those are important. And in time, answers will come, because I know there are people asking the right questions and really want to make sure it doesn't happen again. Hopefully those people exist within the community that will do that, just that, and it will happen in time.
Yeah, and asking the right questions, they have to be asked and they have to be answered. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. I'm not going to
No, I
apologize.
agree. If we want things to improve and get better, you should demand it, right? Especially when something catastrophic happens. That's when we need to actually review and see if there was a failure, what happened, and how do we make it better. Even if there was no failure, we just went with what we had in place, type of system, whatever. How do we improve upon that? Should be a common question, not a bad question. So I'll mute out while you do this and listen in with you guys.
I gotta find it. Here we go.
Well, Kohberger has a history 0. Well, you mean a killing spree history? Stay tuned.
Where did this go? That's not it. That's not
Dana
it.
Smithers, maybe? We'll see.
All right, hold on a second while I find this, because it's up on one of my tabs, but it's not coming up on my StreamYard. StreamYard and I are going to have a little chat. Like, there we go. All right. StreamYard. Here we go. It's not showing up. Why is this article not showing up on my StreamYard?
I don't know. Whatever this problem is y'all been having with StreamYard, so I couldn't.
I'm telling you, it's like, all right, I'm going to have to add it. No, zoom out of that. What the heck? All right, so it's up on its own page right now. So if I share on StreamYard, get your chair, right? Here we go. All right, I got it. Wow, that was a lot harder than it should have been. That was a lot harder than it should have been. Stand by. We got it. I got to do the 2 click thing. Remember?
So much up and down the river. If we go farther down, there's Comfort. And they had warning sirens that morning on February 4th in Comfort. They believe in Kendall County that those sirens saved lives. Our Avery Everett went on an exclusive ride along with Kendall County leaders as they talk about what it took to put those sirens in place.
It just sets it off right here, button number 2.
With one press, sirens can sound off in Comfort. And that's what happened last Friday morning during the Hill Country floods.
This is the first time we've ever blown both of them as a actual warning.
Really?
Yes. And it worked.
You think it saved lives here?
Well, it moved people.
This warning system in Comfort is one that neighbors upstream on the Guadalupe River didn't have. And that's why we asked Kendall County officials to show us their system.
The night before and Thursday, they started monitoring the conditions out in Kerr.
Shane Stolarczyk is the Kendall County judge, and Brady
This isn't rocket science, people. What they're doing right here is what all of them should have been doing all along for like the last 20 or 30 years. Since 1987 at least.
If this department has got this capabilities and they were doing what's going on here?
Yes.
Constantine is the fire marshal and emergency management coordinator. Constantine says he started monitoring the weather hours before it hit. He woke up to a personal warning he set himself that water was rising around 4 a.m. on Friday morning. So he called Denny Morales at the Comfort Volunteer Fire Department.
Yeah, come on in.
The assistant chief gave us a tour of the station. Thank you. Showing us where his command was set up in place by 4:30 Friday morning.
It didn't get any better, okay? So we were monitoring the river. It was coming up awful quick.
Notification.
We were monitoring the river. It was coming up awful quick. Why weren't they monitoring the rivers and creeks around Camp Mystic and Camp La Junta?
Because somebody dropped the ball somewhere. They didn't have they should have been monitoring that river. Just like these guys were doing.
History of flash floods in this area. Hill Country has a history of flash floods. This is not rocket science. This guy does not have a PhD. I don't have a PhD, so I'm not throwing shade on him. He has common sense.
Exactly. And he's taking care of his community.
Exactly, yes.
And sent to us by Kendall County show the first wireless emergency message was sent out to residents before 5:30 a.m. for a flood warning. By 6:30 a.m., Constantine says he set up an emergency operations center out of the Bernie Police Department.
We started looking at what resources we have, what resources we need.
3 more alerts were issued on the wireless warning system between 7 a.m. and 8:06 a.m. Minutes before that last notification, Kendall County says they issued a mandatory evacuation for people living near the river.
So we had a three-prong approach to this.
Our meteorologists say the river began rising in Comfort just after 9 a.m. and crested at 10:45 a.m. The Comfort Volunteer Fire Department sounded the flood sirens minutes later at 10:52 a.m. There are 2 sirens, one at the fire station and one at Comfort Park. Kendall County told us this cost roughly $70,000, and a nonprofit covered about
What is the value of a human life? What is the value of dozens of young campers that lost their lives?
Well, it sounds like a majority what was needed was manpower. You got somebody watching the conditions all night long. There might be the difference right there. Everybody else went to bed, but these guys are over here doing, you know, in the cost, right? The $70,000. That shouldn't be a lot for a county to implement for safety.
Nope.
Right, Joe? Aren't there grants out there for infrastructure and things of that nature?
Even if they have 140,000 people in the county, which is probably really, really, really low, that's 50 cents a person. And if it's 4 times that, it's 5 cents a person. You know, I'm not mathing. I'm not going to do the math now. But that's nothing compared to the cost of a human life.
No, because you can never replace what these families just lost. Especially those of the young children who have to live their entire lives accepting what happened to their child. And if it could have been lessened with 70 grand in a campground that was in jeopardy, could have been evacuated. What caught my attention was them calling for their evacuations of their low-level lying areas when that river crest. Absolutely, that should have been done. I live along these rivers. It might take ours a week to crest after a hurricane. It's a long ride. But like you said, though, there will be time for answers, hopefully, to the questions that we have.
I have lots of questions.
Mm-hmm.
I have lots of questions.
Yeah,
my camera doesn't want to cooperate right now.
Oh, Lord, look at you. Yeah, it's cutting you off.
Boop. I'm going to cut it off. There you go, camera. How do you like that? You're gone. Oh, my gosh. This is so disturbing.
85% of the cost.
After seeing the success of the sirens in this go-around, I mean, does that motivate you to continue to get more across the county?
Yeah, and we're going to sit back after and do an evaluation after this and see how we can improve our system.
7 days later, officials say search and recovery are still their priority.
The needs of Kendall County are completely different than the needs of Kerrville and Hunt.
As certified search teams scour the Guadalupe riverbed, Kendall County leaders say there are lessons that are being learned, but they're lucky they had this system in place.
That warning system was utilized and was a significant factor in us having a quick response.
Avery Everett, KSAT 12 News.
All right. One more. Hold on. Background. Where'd my StreamYard go? No. That's not it. There we go. All right. One more Texas video to watch. And this is about the RV park that was wiped out during the flooding. And this one's pretty tough too. So trigger warning.
RV park right now with the owner, Lorena Guillen. As
Let's head back out to Jordan Elder. She is out in Ingram. Is that right, Jordan? Tell us where you're at and what you're seeing.
We are at the Blue Oak RV park right now with the owner, Lorena Guillen. As the sun has come up, the devastation here has become so clear. Can you walk us through the night that the flood happened? When did you realize that it was going to be this devastating?
Nobody could have predicted this much devastation. I started seeing the heavy rain around 1 o'clock. By 2:30, I checked the water levels. I went all the way to the edge of the river, and it was fine. It was perfectly fine. And called the sheriff's department. I asked them. They had no information, and I went to bed. And at 3:30, the lights of the rescue team awoke me. And my husband and I ran over here. And the bottom part of my RV, which is the second level, was completely all the way to the waist. I mean, people were trying to get out of their RVs in their underwear with no shoes, nothing besides their pets, and some of them lost their pets too. But by that point, the rescuers were trying to get a family of 5 that were stuck all the way where those trees are.
Colton, can I have you show? They were on kind of an island over here. Is that kind of where the electric poles are now?
Yes, and over there is still the bathrooms. The family of 5 was right there within 10 feet of the water, having a beautiful time the day before. I mean, it was just perfect weather, perfect everything for on the 3rd, and then it just turned. So at 3:30, when we saw the rescue team trying to get in, they had 2 fast boats. They were the right team to get to them, and they couldn't. The waters were rising so much, it was insane. We had about another 20 minutes to get everybody.
Did it freeze up, or is it just me?
It's just you. It's just you. I didn't mute myself and forget to unmute myself.
Did you pause it, start talking?
I did because I wanted to comment on her comment about the rescue boats. She said there were rescue boats there, but they couldn't go out into the water because the waters were too rapid, and that's a true story.
Oh, yeah.
Professional rescuers can't go into every floodwater every time. Like, they have to judge the risk themselves. And I guarantee you these floodwaters were way too rapid for even the best of rescue swimmers.
And it also depends on the vessel.
Correct. Yes.
You can't take like a little John boat, right? You got to have something a little beefier than that. But also, you have to consider the conditions. Like I said, they do swift water rescue training here at Eglin Air Force Base all the time. These Army Rangers are out here from all over the country training in these rivers because they're so swift. And then they're deployed all over the country with their swift water rescue training. And they had deployed swift water rescue training or swift water rescue teams here as well. And made me wonder how many came through here and trained on these rivers. But absolutely, a lot of factors go into it, right? And you got to have the right equipment and the right manpower. And if it's too dangerous, you can't go out there.
Right. And Texas Task Force 1 is a federal resource, and they were one of the first persons out there. And then they called in the U.S. Coast Guard, and those are the best of the best of the best. And if they can't go into floodwaters, nobody is going into those floodwaters without losing their life. Like it was that bad.
Yeah, a friend of mine did 8 years in the Navy, and then after that, he went to Coast Guard for several years. And it's amazing what they, especially, you know, I know all about the Coast Guard. I'm on the coast of Florida. I would be stupid not to know, but it's so risky, right, to go in, and a lot of times they just don't care. They'll go in anyway. But it would suck to see people and at the same time not be able to go help them.
We saw that in your 1987 footage.
Yeah.
Like there was a news helicopter that dropped that rope down for that one gal, and then she slipped off of it.
Yeah.
Like
And
that's-
that even you put yourself at danger, and we see people do it all the time, you know, put themselves at risk to go save another. And I think that's human nature for a lot of people to go. It would be hard not to step in, even if it was risky for you, right? So imagine just standing there watching and not being able to freaking help. That's so helpless, and so the guilt that may come with that.
Yep.
That's not
Survivor
warranted,
guilt.
but there, you know what I mean?
Out of here, and they barely were able to grab their belongings, jump into their cars in the upper level, and take off. But 20 minutes later, the water was up a good 40 feet in this area. And
So just a quick note, this is obviously an older story that says 51 were confirmed dead. It's more than double that now.
Yeah.
Just so you know, this is an older story about the RV park.
and it was just, everything was gone. Every single RV and vehicle, it was gone. Got washed away.
Do you have an estimate of how many RVs were in this area?
Yes, I had 28 up here, and I had 5 on the island, and everything is lost. Everything's gone.
Have they started to find where those RVs were ending up?
Yes, there is about half a mile now down the river. There is a wall of about 30 to 40 vehicles all smashed together, and nobody's been able to get to that, but there's a lot in there, and it was just very horrific night. At one point, you can see lights, because it was pitch black. You know, at that time of the night, it was just so black, and you could see the lights of vehicles getting washed off from upriver, and you can hear honking. You couldn't see anything, but you can hear honking, and you can hear the screaming. The cabins next door keep smashing against our trees. You can see the scarring of the trees, and that's where they were hitting. You know, that's how high they were getting.
This is a really good report. Like, this is somebody who was there when it was going on and survived. This is like, her story is captivating to me, which is why I'm playing it now. She's talking about how high the floodwaters were, and she's looking out into the trees to show us. And I wish the camera would pan over to show how high the floodwaters were when it was going through.
Yeah, she has spoken a couple of times, I think, is the same lady, because it's the RV park that she ran. But how many people are in that pile of RVs that couldn't get out? You know,
Right.
Some of the missing will be in there and things like that. We heard the one lady who floated downriver for all those miles and ended up in the tree. She had RVs floating past her at one point. You know, and why weren't these facilities evacuated? I'm going to always ask that question.
Yep. And will they be next time?
Darn well better.
Damn well better.
Yeah.
I just cussed and you didn't.
You did again. I noted. I was going to see, I'm trying to be good. I'm on respectful, be on Joe's show, and try to be on good behavior. I got him. Made him do it, not me. See how good I am? Y'all underestimate
The
me.
cars hitting the trees that was pulling the bark off.
Yeah, and the cabins from the RV park next door keep hitting, keep getting smashed against the trees, and there was screaming. I mean, and you couldn't see much, but
Look at that. Look how high the flooding went on those trees. That's like, what, 10 feet above
Yeah.
normal level?
Zero asked me if I remember Homestead, Florida. And yes, my very good friend had her family lived in Homestead, and they lived in that mobile home park that was flattened. It was a double wide community, very popular in South Florida. Homestead, Florida was wiped off the map by Hurricane Andrew, Cat 5 hurricane in the 90s. So yes, I do remember it. And that's why it's this devastation and these, when they talk about these homes, people are going in there now and they're showing you that water level and the insurance, this and that. I've stood in a house and they have pointed out to us, well, the water rose to here. And you look way up the wall and there's your water line way over your head. And then from here up is wind. I've seen all of that kind of stuff. And the power of that water is what amazes me, Joe. Like the way it's able to strip and trees and bark and move vehicles and just level places and homes. It's very, very powerful. And the fact that they didn't try to evacuate these low-lying areas is incredible to me. The wind caused all that problems in Homestead, Florida with Hurricane Andrew, not the rain. That was a whole different thing. But what they learned a lot after that hurricane moving forward, though, right, with building codes and all that. But even now, like I've said with Hurricane Ivan and all the flooding that we had with that storm, you can never discount all this flooding. It has to be taken seriously, especially if there's going to be lives lost over and over, and it's just a lot of people in this tragedy because these campgrounds were full. It's summer, it's the 4th of July, you get all these kids camping and people taking their RVs out or going and renting RVs on these campgrounds already, all the things that were happening, the cabins that were filled. There was a lot of people on their watch to be responsible for. And Florida, we experienced hurricane season at the height of tourist season. We can't let all these tourists get hurt. They don't know what they're doing. We have to guide them through all of it, right? And we do a good job of that, and they depend on it, and they're so thankful because they're stuck here. Oh my God, I'm stuck here, and I'm from Minnesota. What's happening? What do I do? And we tell them. We're not rude and like, I got back home. We're like, no, go get some water, go hunker down, do this and that, and they're very appreciative. But you protect your community at all costs. This is ridiculous to me.
Yeah, Kerr County. Here's what I didn't know about Kerr County and Hill Country. They're a known tourist summer destination. It's not just Camp Mystic. It's not just Camp La Junta. It is a known tourist RV destination. So to just ignore the warnings, to not have systems in place in 2025 does not sound like an acceptable practice.
No.
It does not sound right. I can't.
Again, there should be red flags. They already had the disaster when they had that deep freeze and literally the senator or whatever the hell he is ran away and the people were freezing to death. It was all come out. It's infrastructure. It's the capacity to maintain, and they're not doing it. That's people live there need to be asking what the hell's going on. These kids are far more important than your politics, if that's what's happening. Far more important than you might not feel like coming out during a storm. I don't know what your problem is. Fix it, because next year those camps, if they ever rebuild, I don't know if people will be comfortable sending their kids back down there, right? Taking that chance without a good system being in place. This might devastate that once and for all. Guys, can you still hear me? Joe fell off look, he fell off, y'all. He portaled right on out of here. He's like, oop, dipped out. Where'd you go, Joe? Full of tourists, right? I mean, you can't put a bunch of it's one thing to you put your community in jeopardy, right? When you've got a lot of tourist attractions happening. Guys, I don't know what happened to Joe. There he is. He's back. Portal.
Lori got me.
No, I shut that down. That was somebody else's portal. That woman ain't got no power left. Zip, it's gone. Well, in my realm, in my world, Lori who? Oh, that weak ass girl? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Her.
Oh,
I snatched
man,
her power away. I locked it away for good.
I've got a new laptop, and this thing is driving me nuts.
You sound a little weird too now.
Hold on, let me change my settings.
Uh-oh. I know Lori ain't done till she gets a hold of Joe Schmoe. That's her next interview.
Is that better audio? Is my audio better now?
Sounds like Joe's in a fishbowl, don't it? He's like, wow, 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 Charlie Brown's grandma.
Not yet? What?
What?
Is that better yet? Is my audio better yet? Okay.
Better yet. I bought a fancier mic and headphone and can't get it to work right, so I'm back to my $11 cheapo, and I've been doing just fine. I don't know what it happened. Yeah, I've been back on using my old one for forever because I never could get the new one to work, and whatever the issue was before where I would break up a time or two, that's gone. Apparently, if it hasn't, nobody's told me, hey, you're still breaking up. I don't hear that anymore, and when I'm streaming, I don't hear the breaking up like is weird. I thought it was the headset the whole time. I go buy a new one, can't get it to work right, and go back to the old one, and everything's fine. So I don't know, whatever.
All right. Let's finish watching this interview with this.
Joe is gone, girl. All I said. Joe's like, he likes to do that. Just he slides out. He does that. What is that thing that Higgins did? I almost said the Russian goodbye, but it's not. It's the Irish goodbye.
Yeah.
Sorry, Russians and Irish. I didn't mean to confuse you. The old good Irish goodbye. Joe's like, shh.
I'm out.
Peace out. Peace out, bitches.
The screaming was unbearable, and so I mean, we are one of the luckiest one because we only have 5 people missing, unfortunately, but I was able to get everybody. I mean,
did you just hear what she said? We only have 5 people missing. We only have 5 people missing.
Yeah.
No,
because there were a lot of people there.
Yeah, but
and if we only have 5 missing, we're I mean, but that's still, but yeah, that's the reality of it.
Right. Yeah, that's a thing. That's a thing I'm not okay with.
My husband and I were banging on doors, getting everybody out. We had the rescue team here because one of my residents heard them screaming at that, in the middle of the night around 3:30 or something like that, and he called 911, and that's the only reason why they were here so soon, so fast. And at one point, the manager.
Okay, you know me and how I got to stop things and point out things I got a problem with. She said the reason that the emergency responders were there so fast was because somebody in the RV park called 911.
Mm-hmm.
There should have been people staged and ready for this without people calling 911. Maybe.
Well, I mean, no, I mean.
Yeah, I served on
they're
that.
not Florida. I can't answer that. Here we have a state of emergency goes into effect ahead of a hurricane. Everybody goes into action.
Yes.
And it's all staged and ready. When I say staged and ready, we might have electrical trucks sitting in Georgia waiting to come in when the storm passes. As soon as it is gone, they're coming.
Yep. You got EOCs.
This person who owned this trailer park, I cannot go out here and blame them for what happened. They reacted as quickly as they could.
Right.
People were calling 911 and rescuers did get down there, but it was too late. I mean, staged and ready means they would have known it was coming and they would have been prepared and planned, and they didn't do any of that. So they just didn't. These people were on their own.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that's my problem, quote unquote. They didn't do any of that.
Right. They didn't. And I'm right
problem.
there with you. These people had to save themselves. Our county, our town, our state, whatever is not doing it. Maybe they tried once the word got out. I think there's some really, I'm not trashing the efforts of first responders and rescuers. They only go do what they're told, right? When the warnings and the calls start coming in, they start reacting. I don't know where the failure took place here, if there even was one. But the people
there was one,
right?
There was one, and the failure was between the watch and the warnings.
Yeah.
That's where the failure was. I'm calling it out now, and this is just me.
Or was it lack of authorities to act on the warnings they were receiving?
No, because they didn't get warnings until 1:30 at 1:30 in the morning,
Did they get some pre-warnings that this could happen?
Exactly.
And so the officials at the emergency management operations that didn't exist are nowhere to blame? They don't even got an emergency operations center where y'all should be gathered receiving the information.
And I have inside information on that lack of control that's going on right now with the EOC, and I'm not going to share that. Just saying that would not be outside the realm of possibility that their EOC or lack of EOC was a failure that may have contributed to.
Well, that's already out there. The community itself is putting that out there. That's where I get that from. That's not something I dreamed up or made up. That's what's being said from within the community and during press conferences. So y'all can sit on whatever, but at some point that needs to come out and pushback happen if people are really that mad about it.
Yeah.
If we're gonna, it's one thing for me to come out here and talk about it, but if I'm gonna act, that's a different thing. If I got a reason to act.
I just took some more notes. Okay. I'm ready to get back.
Take notes from me, Joe.
I'm taking notes. I'm taking names.
Damn it, man.
Next door, she came on running here, said, we need help too, because they didn't know. And they lost a lot of people. I mean, they had so many missing people at that point, like close to 40 people missing just there. And us 5, that's 45 people in a matter of 1 hour. So it's just incredible. I mean,
she is going to have PTSD for the rest of her life.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt. They all will. Anybody who lived along there or was affected or any part of that, owned the property, was camping there, lost all of them. They're all going to have PTSD for the longest time, probably forever.
My heart goes out to her because you can tell that she cares. Like, you can tell that she's not just like robotically like putting out this information. She is recounting her human experience, and it's just heartbreaking.
The force of that water was so insane. Nobody could get into it. My resident, that was the one that called 911, he was trying to get to the family and all the way to his waist, and debris hitting him, and he was yelling, please throw me your baby, and they couldn't, and they got swept away, and we all saw it and we all heard it.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I hadn't heard this story before.
Oh, really?
No, I hadn't heard this before. This is my first time, and it's tearing me up.
Hitting him, and he was yelling, please throw me your baby, and they couldn't, and they got swept away, and we all saw it and we all heard them.
And the person that was trying to rescue them, what ended up happening to them?
He got out just with his clothes on. He lost his pets as well, and he had just moved in to enjoy the beautiful summer that we were having. The temperature was right. I mean, you have to understand, Kerrville is an amazing community, small town, but on 4th of July, we go all out, and we hadn't been able to because of the drought, so everybody was mindful of the fireworks and things like that. But this 4th of July, it was the perfect weather. I mean, it was going to be in the 80s, 90s, and it had been raining, so everything was kind of wet already. So it was perfect because we could go crazy with fireworks. So everybody was so happy, and everybody was we're gonna have the best 4th of July ever. You know, every restaurant had bands playing, everybody, and we were all full. I mean, there were tents camping along the river all the way to New Braunfels. And what happened with them? I mean, there is no way to account for those people.
They were
I
the
mean,
first ones to go.
I just
damn it. People in tents don't have us. You got no fight. At least in the RV, you might can float and maybe get out, climb a tree. You're in that tent and you're asleep. Water's coming out of nowhere. I've almost had it come up on my tent camping on the creek after a thunderstorm overnight. Like, I better go check the damn creek. Like, holy shit, that creek is really close. And where the hell did my chair go? Right? That's a scary thought. You're sleeping in your tent. Everything's going to be washed away before you have no idea it's coming.
Yeah. Especially with the flood wall that came down that creeks and rivers.
And if they were asleep and there was no actual warnings, your phone going off, whatever their system is, you don't even know it's happening. That's bad. That's sad. It's sad all the way around, but damn, that's next level.
It is. It's a whole nother level.
Yeah.
And even if your phone went off, it's at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock,
What are
4
you going
o'clock
to
in the
do when
morning.
the water's right there, right?
Are you even going to hear it? Are you even going to hear your phone go off at 4 o'clock in the morning?
Some people might, some people don't. I would hear my phone, but I know people who would not hear their phone at all. But when it's that dark outside, like she was describing, when it's that dark, you can't see that water to see where it's at. Like if you're used to where the bank is and you think, you may not realize that water's left its bank because it's dark and black outside. You turn that flashlight on like I've done in the past. Oh shit, this water's lapping the window, but the water level is way back there. Not anymore. It's right here at your window now. And I didn't know it until that flashlight hit that window and I saw that water, and it freaked me out because I wasn't supposed to be there. You can't see it till it's there.
No, you can't. And you saw, or you didn't see, when I walked along the bank of Lady Bird Lake, like when it's dark out, it's
so dark.
It's so impossible to see where the edge of the water is versus where the bank is.
Yeah, it was that dark out there for him. You can't. You could just walk right off into it without even knowing it. It's crazy. Yeah, a lot of people do live in RV parks, Trace. We have RV parks around here you can live in all year round. They're very popular. We have tons of RV parks up and down the coast, up on the rivers. That's why this is shocking to me that evacuations didn't take place. Because I'm so used to that taking place, right? So we have all that's all around me. You can literally, within 20 minutes to an hour, 10 minutes from where I live, you can go park your RV or your tent and go camping, state parks. What do you want? We got it all. It's crazy they didn't evacuate.
Next time, they better evacuate. That's all I'm saying.
That's all it takes is a simple evacuation.
Next time.
Know what's going to happen now. I mean, I don't know how, we're going to get past all this. And when everybody asks me, what are you feeling? I'm like, I just want to know what now. Like I have bills to pay today, not in 3 months. I have a restaurant with employees that they need to work to make a living. You think, 2 or 3 days off. A lot of my employees live day by day, and so do I. My husband and I bought this property 4 years ago as our retirement plan, as our little piece of paradise, and that's what it was.
Has anyone from the city, the county, the state, have they come to visit you?
No, not at all. Not one single one. And that's why.
Whoa! What? What? This is nuts to me. Okay, I'm not gonna make a political comment. I'm just gonna replay this question and answer and let y'all figure out what my political comment would have been.
They come to visit you?
No, no. Piece of paradise, and that's what it was.
Has anyone from the city, the county, the state, have they come to visit you?
No, not at all. Not one single one. And that's why, I'm talking to you guys to bring awareness of the area. We need so much help. I mean, I'm just don't understand why we have so many military bases in Texas.
Okay, I'm not gonna not comment.
Do it.
No,
Do it. Do it.
Nobody from the city, the county, the state, or the federal government has come to her property where there are 45 people missing. Nobody. All right. That might be a problem. That might be a problem. And granted, this is an older story from a couple of days ago, so probably she's been visited now, but would you bet money?
Maybe somebody's come by now.
Maybe somebody's come by now.
An official.
Says with people there right now, why couldn't they be here now? I mean, San Antonio alone is just an hour away. We have Lackland, we have Fort Sam Houston, Del Rio has a military base, El Paso. Everybody could have been here that day to help because, yes, I understand.
Everybody could have been here that day to help. She knows it. Now you know it. Now I know it. Salty, now you know it. Everybody could have been here that day. There's a military base not that far away.
The National Guard is rescuing and recovery, which is obviously essential. But that wall of cars half a mile down here with 30, 40 vehicles, they have to look. That is part of the recovery because I know there's bodies buried in there.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it too. And so now I'm going to have to look up this camp on my map, and I'm going to have to ask if my HRD teams have checked out the mass of vehicles that have piled up against the dam. I imagine they have. That's a logical place to look, but
right.
I need to know now for a fact that they're looking there.
It is part of the recovery because I know there's bodies buried in there. We know that. I mean, every time we try to get some of the debris against the tree, we're afraid that we're going to find somebody in the middle of it. So the clean up is part of looking to see what they can find. Maybe I don't know. I just think we should have gotten help a lot more because all the cleanup that has happened here, and believe me, it's very clean up. They already dug up a car from my parking lot and that was completely buried. It was done by volunteers. I had probably about 60 or 80 people in here volunteering, helping. And that's how we were able to clean this much up and be able to drive over. But
amazing. I'm going to replay that again just because she's begging for help. She's begging for resources. And we know for a fact that there are a ton of resources from volunteers thrown at this situation. We don't know for a fact that there are a ton of government resources thrown at this situation. Federal, county, state, we don't know. And it sounds like, according to what she's saying, maybe not so much. And that's a problem. So it's a problem pre-disaster. It's a problem post-disaster.
I had probably about 60 or 80 people in here volunteering, helping. And that's how we were able to clean this much up and be able to drive over. But that's it. I mean, we need the military. We need our military here to help us with this incredible disaster. I mean, I have some of my customers are in their 90s, and no one has ever seen a flood with this magnitude. No one, not even the 87, the 98, the 2000 and whatever. No, this is a 500-year flood.
So you
all right.
mentioned that you were out knocking on doors telling people to evacuate. We were hearing that morning that down in Comfort there were flood sirens and alarms sounding. to alert people. Is there anything like that in this area?
No, there is nothing here like that because I don't know how long. I think Comfort was, I'm going to say, lucky enough because we were already alerting the authorities at 3:30, so they knew there was water going that way. They knew it, so they had a little bit of warning, more than we did because we had no warning.
Holy shit. They alerted the authorities that properties downstream, that lands downstream were going to get hit by this massive flood. They told authorities.
And how quickly did they relay the message the water's coming? Or did they?
Yeah.
Anything like that in this area?
No, there is nothing here like that because I don't know how long. I think Comfort was, I'm going to say, lucky enough because we.
Yeah, Comfort was blessed in this event to not lose more lives, and maybe because of people like her that called the authorities, maybe Comfort was not as crushed, because if you look at the Comfort stream gauges, they were at 50 feet, so more than 25 feet above normal levels. Like
Right.
the Comfort got hit by the same storm surge that Kerrville got hit by. It's just Comfort had more of a warning and Kerrville did not. Hunt and Kerrville did not get warned at all. How can we make that better? How can we get better?
We're already alerting the authorities at 3:30, so they knew there was water going that way. They knew it, so they had a little bit of warning, more than we did because we had no warning.
And then I just want to show people there's still water over here, but you say this is not actually where the river is supposed to be. This is still technically drainage.
Yes, that is correct. The river is, if you see that electrical on that tree, the river should be about 3 or 4 feet below that.
Wow. So this is all still draining. Again, we are at the Blue Oaks RV Park. There's restaurants here. There were cabins here. We've been speaking with Lorena Guillen, who is the owner. It's a very troubling scene out here. We're going to continue capturing this video for you. For now, we're going to send it back to you guys in studio.
Before we let you go, she mentioned that there were 28 people parked at the RV park. 5 were on the island. Was her park full for 4th of July weekend?
Was the park full for 4th of July weekend with people that were here?
Yes, absolutely. I had, thankfully, the other half of my guests that were coming on the 4th.
So there weren't as many people as there could have been.
Yes, that is correct. But I know everybody else was full. I was probably at 80% capacity at that point, with the other 20% coming on the 4th in the morning.
Well, thank you so much for talking to us. This is absolutely devastating. And thank you for your kindness and for speaking to us.
Thank you very much.
And Jordan, let her know that we will get her name to city and county officials to get her the help that she needs, and your exact location so that they know where search and rescue folks can look, especially when she believes, right, there are people downstream.
Yeah, because there's resources available, absolutely resources available. The governor has already said that as much, but I'm sure they're searching.
Okay. That was a pretty intense interview. That was pretty intense. I think she said Blue Oaks RV campground. So I'm going to try and find that on Google Earth. Let's see if we can find that together. See where my pin drops end up. Pin drops end up. Boop, boop. Okay, so first we're going to go to Camp Mystic. All right, we're going to see if we can search for Blue Oaks. Blue Oaks RV. I don't see one on here. Nope. All right, we're not going to find it. But there was an RV campground. So here's the Guadalupe River. There were, looks like, a couple of really rich people houses.
I'll be listening, but I'll be right back. But I'll be
Okay.
listening.
All right. I'm going to try and find a campground. And let's just look for RV campground right here. That's what we're going to do. RV campground. Do search. Bum, 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 bum. Base Camp Resort. That doesn't look right. Johnson Creek and Ingram. Here we go. There's one in Kerrville. HTR. Oh gosh. That would be an RV campground. HTR. Buckham Lake Resort. That one's way further away from Guadalupe River. There's one up on the North Fork. Armadillo. Oh. I don't know where this lady was though. That's my problem. I want to know where she was at. She was like Blue Point or something. Base Camp Resort. Look at all these little tiny houses along the river. Like cabins, right? Wouldn't you call those cabins? Like summer resort cabins type of thing. Let's do a little street view of that. Oh yeah, little tiny cabins. Look at those. It's a little bigger cabin. There's a little smaller cabin. This is just such a summer like touristy community, right? All along the river. Hold on. Let me check chat real quick. You can't see anything? Gosh darn it.
Joe.
Gosh darn it.
Joe,
why didn't you tell me
let
sooner?
me walk away, and I and I'm like in chat going, ha, he doesn't even realize we can't see anything, Joe.
I'm oblivious. That's
We're
like
being patient. I'm like, let me go back in the house and tell him, hold up. Joe interrupted my 5-minute walk out the door.
I
All right, you
interrupted
good
your
now,
break.
Joe? You
I
good now?
interrupted your break. This is
All right.
the South Fork of the Guadalupe River.
Here we go. Back on track, guys.
So there's a bunch of like summery touristy type little cabins and stuff along the Guadalupe River. There's a tennis court. Like, who plays tennis anymore? Do you play tennis? I don't play tennis. Obviously, I don't play tennis. I mean, look at this face. There are tennis courts all over the place and little cabins. Now we're going to drop down and look where I was just not showing you a minute ago. All right, see that? See little like little cabins, little summer cabins. That's a big summer cabin right there. That's a 2-story. There's a 1-story. There's a 1-story. Like, people come here and just like spend some time in the summertime, and it looks great. I would love to spend some time there in the summer. But there's the river right there. That looks like a little bit of a camp area, right? If it's got a red roof, they'll keep the light on for you. Light view. Oh gosh darn. Just so this is the cool thing about Google Earth Pro now is they have like a terrain feature where you can see hills. You can see hills and valleys. Like you can tell. Oh, that's a basketball court, not a tennis court. Okay. I'm okay. I'm cool. I'm from Indiana. I'm cool with the basketball court, just not with the tennis court. Like, look at all of the hills up here and the fact that the water is just going to run off of those. There's a trail that goes over the top of the hill. We're just exploring this area. Like, parents sending their kids to summer camps, and it's been going on for decades. Browser is lost connection, and it's been going on for decades and decades and decades. Just sending their kids. And one more time, I'm going to point this out one more time. Shoot, I may need to find. So, I pointed out the other day that they built these cabins in a floodplain in 2019. So I'm going to point that out one more time because somebody else on a major news program, a major news network, pointed it out yesterday morning. Come on. Let's get up here to 2019. January of 2019, the cabins were not built yet. See, they're just building the building pads to build the cabins. And I have a problem with that. And a lot of people should, because they're in a floodplain. They built these cabins along the creek in a floodplain, in a new floodplain. And whoever issued those building permits, if building permits were issued, is going to have some good answer for.
My family, there's an area down the river where I grew up. We could camp. We don't camp down there anymore. Now, just down from that same spot, there's an area on the river you can rent and keep your camper there all year round if you want. My sister does. My brother does. My dad's down there right now. The thing is, we know that river's going to flood when a hurricane comes. No, just no doubt about it. It's going to happen. So they have to go down there ahead of the storm, and you get your camper, you take it to the higher ground. You take it home or up to the higher ground. Down the highway, it's not down a highway, it's down the dirt road. They have an area further up where they do park all the campers, but it's far away from the river. People who didn't go move their campers during the last storm really regretted it. Nothing left. Took them because that water's coming. You can't stop it. You just only can get away from it. So the fact that these people live along the river, and I guess because there just wasn't catastrophic flooding before, except once in a lifetime type stuff, I don't know, but it sounds like it was prone to flooding, and maybe they were prone to it only coming up so far. But I felt there's some planning missteps here somewhere. Like, yeah, Zero, like a fish camp. We are right on the river. When I go next Sunday, I'm going next Sunday for a big family get together up there. I'm going to take pictures and videos for you guys because it's super. I've shown friends of mine in the past the boat ride through one of my rivers, and they're like, holy shit, you're more of a man than I am. Like, maybe, but this is a cool river. But yeah, you can't. Water don't hold back, and it doesn't care. It's going to do what it has to do. They need to make better choices for their people.
They do.
They really do. There's just so much planning that could take place to prevent it, and I know that from experience. That's why I'm kind of baffled at this whole thing.
All right, I'm going to take people just through a little quick run through of checking out flood service centers, flood map service center. Hold on. I got to share it twice. I hate you, StreamYard, for making me share you twice. All right, I got it this time though, right? So flood maps, FEMA's flood map service center says enter in an address. Let's just go to Hunt, Texas. Search. Boom. Dynamic map. Here we go. Show all products. Oh, hold on a second, people. Website is slow. I wonder why. Nope. We got to go back. All right. That's fine. We'll just, we'll do the interactive map right here. So this is Hunt, Texas. This is where the North Fork and the South Fork of the Guadalupe River meet. And down here is where Camp Mystic is. So you can see there are floodways and there are floodplains and there's flood elevation. So wherever the red hatched area is where you would expect the swift water to be moving during a flood event like the one that just happened. And wherever the blue hatching is just like when floodwaters rise up over time. And then the orange areas are more like a 500-year storm, which is what we just saw the RV camp owner talking about, a 500-year storm. That may or may not be the case. We just may have 200-year storms back to back to back. Like it's going to happen in our world now. So anyway, that's Hunt is where the North Fork and the Main Fork meet. Here's Kerrville. See this Kerr County. There's Kerrville right there. Ingram and Kerr County, or Kerrville, are right next to each other. Literally right next to each other. And that's the Guadalupe River. They have these little things that are like dams, but they're not like solid dams. They're like a concrete wall that they put across the river. And then this is where the North Fork and the South Fork meet up. Come on, we're almost there. Right there. That is Hunt, Texas, which is where the two creeks met.
Mm-hmm.
Salty, are you still with me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yep, I hear you. It's just, okay. That reminded me, I want to go down and I want to check out where they built these new cabins in 2019, because it doesn't make sense to me. So we're coming from the South Fork of the Guadalupe River, and right here is where Camp Mystic is. Okay. There you have the road. So if you look on the top end of this right now, this is the road that comes in to Camp Mystic from the state highway, whatever state highway that is, that comes across the Guadalupe River. But this blue shaded area right here is 100-year floodplain. And they built cabins in the 100-year floodplain in 2019. Tell me why. Tell me how that happened. I want to know. I want answers. Salty, do you have answers for me? I want answers.
I do not have answers. They don't want me to come down there because they would like, man, you have too many questions and we don't have the answers. Like, give me somebody who can answer my question then. It'll be that relentless reporter that people don't like after, y'all come. We want them to go ask questions, but then when they do, people are like, do you see that reporter? I'm like, y'all make up your minds.
Right.
What y'all want here for real? Are we just looking for a reason to gripe? Because I don't join the griping parties. I do from time to time.
I would be willing to put money on the fact that there were some lives lost in those cabins that were built in the floodplain right there.
I'm sure. I
would put money on that.
And the water, it goes where it flows, and if you're in the path of that flow, it's over with. And so yeah, it might have missed the cabin next door, but got that cabin. Might have missed that tent, but got that. Yep. Yeah, it's like in Twister. It missed this house and get that house. It's crazy. I've just seen. Right now. I do want answers. The people who live there deserve answers. The children's parents deserve answers. People who ran the camps deserve answers. All the things. But right now, also supporting those people who still need a lot of help and the ones who are out there helping.
Yep.
And getting good information out there about those things.
Yep. Look, we should be able to see an update from Megan coming up soon, I reckon. And hopefully I will get you an update from my 2 HRD K9 teams that are in the field right now. Hopefully I can get you an update from them. They don't want to be interviewed. They shy away from interviews. So I'll just try and get an update from those. All right. I'm going to wrap this up. This was heavy. Thank you, everybody, for staying in here and staying with us through this.
Thank you, guys.
And thanks, Salty, for jumping up here with me and lending your insight as always.
Oh, you're welcome. And I'll be back. If I don't go live later on this evening, I'll be live Monday morning for sure. But I might go this evening. I haven't decided yet. Playing it by ear for now.
We'll keep an eye out. I've got Jack Fox coming up tomorrow night on Lori Daybell's interview with Nate.
Cool beans. All right, guys. Y'all have a good one. Take it easy.
All right. Take care, everybody.
Good morning. Good morning. Hope you got your cup of joe and filled up your morning with good things to know. Good morning, good morning. Thanks for saying hi. Together we make a difference. Be sure to come back by. Good morning, thanks for saying hi. Together we make a difference. Be sure to come back by. Good morning, hope you got your cup of joe and filled up your